Hey, what's up, listener? Thank you for pressing play this week on the Jock and Nerd podcast. The streaming wars get crowded as Apple officially jumps in. Avengers Endgame will have an epic runtime and releases new character posters with some surprises, and Marvel's Eternals lands a pretty big female lead. Plus, a listener-requested Patreon-sponsored spoiler movie review of the 2015 time travel movie Predestination, starring Ethan Hawke, reviews and voicemails from the Jock and Nerd Nation, and so much more. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Thursday, March 28th, 2019.
This is Norm MacDonald, and you're listening to the, hang on, I got it here. It says, the Jock and Nerd Podcast, known for their series of gay erotica found on Amazon, No? That's not that? Oh. Well, I fucked that up, I guess.
Check. Check one. All right. This is really fans out there. Let's give it up. We're talking, we nerded. We're funny, disturbing. We're talking, we nerded. We're spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We're talking, we nerded. We're funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. I'm talking, we nerded. We're spoiler alert.
Hello, listener. What's up? Thanks for joining us this week. And welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we deliver comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd. Why are you saying it so slow?
I don't know. I may have just had a stroke.
Oh, shit.
Bear with me, listener. Just play this at ×2 speed. Everything will sound normal. Over there in the corner is a felty fizzle bomber. Goes by the name of Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
Hi, Imran.
Oh, shit.
I'm speaking really fastly.
Did I change the speed on this recording? What happened?
Is fastly a word?
Fastly is not a word, Rugs.
You fuck.
Yeah. Well, but thanks for trying to... That was trippy. If you are listening to this at fast speed, Rug Boy sounded normal.
Yeah, it sounded normal.
Look, I'm just trying to enunciate and slow down and savor the moment. Get the words jock and nerd and a podcast and my name. Instead of like mumbling the shit that sometimes I do, you know?
You never mumble.
Are you drinking chamomile tea before the show?
I am not drinking tea, but I am smoking trees. Listener, if you are a first-time listener, thanks for finding the show. Check out our show notes at our website, jockandnerd.com/267. It has links to everything we're going to talk about, links to videos, articles, how to get in touch, how to subscribe, yada, yada, yada. We got lots to do. Let's get going. Here's the news.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
We are going to start with the streaming TV war that is going on. It's super fascinating, and there is a new contender entering the ring. In this corner, it is the 300-pound elephant in the room. Apple has revealed their new TV streaming service in a big, they had one of their Apple events earlier this year. You guys, anybody watch that? Am I the only nerd that watches
what's
that
it called?
shit?
What's the new service called?
Okay, the new service in the most original name Apple could come up with, the company that's innovated everything. It's called Apple TV Plus.
They should have called it Apple TV, motherfuckers.
That's what they should have called it.
Would have been better.
Or Apple motherfucking TV in the house.
Oh, that's even better.
What if they just went with orange?
Orange. Just something. Yes. This is called Mojave. That's how they used to name it.
Just name it after some random thing.
Acai.
Emu. There's a new service called Emu. And,
this is Yucca.
And then when they upgrade it, they call it Lemur.
Yeah, something like that.
This
is Apple Kale.
So Apple used to be a little bit more creative in naming things. I mean, we have Disney Plus also coming out in the fall. Anyways, Apple TV Plus will be...
Really? Were they real creative? I mean, they came up with, the
iPad?
No,
iPod.
No. The iPod, and then they just took that I and put it in front of everything. Phone, pad.
It's called clever branding. That's called clever...
What does the I stand for?
I don't even know.
Internet?
It's a pod. Integrated? That's a good question.
Imbecile?
Where did Steve Jobs, like, he doesn't even have an I in his name. Is it for Imran? I think Imran. I am an Apple product.
Pod.
Yeah, you pronounce my name by saying Imran. It's the new.
It's exactly how I pronounce it.
It's the new Apple service. Apple TV Plus, company's new subscription platform for original TV programming, slated to launch this fall in more than 100 countries. Now, look, I'm an Apple fanboy. Always have been. Everything in front of me right now is Apple. I have multiple Apple computers, iPads, devices. But I'm going to bag on them a little bit because they're
getting shittier year by year.
Yes, they're getting shittier. So I watched this thing live because I kind of knew that they were going to reveal their big streaming thing. Here's what happened. A whole bunch of celebrities paraded out on stage, starting with Steven Spielberg. He will be bringing a revival of his Amazing Stories anthology to the service. Then followed by Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell, teasing their new drama called The Morning Show.
Okay.
Sarah Bareilles and J.J. Abrams are teaming up for a show called Little Voice.
I don't know what that is.
Jason Momoa and Alfre Woodard come out on stage. They have a show that's called Seeing. It's some kind of post-apocalyptic future where people are blind, I think, I believe. Kumail Nanjiani. He comes out. He's got a show called Little America about growing up as immigrants. And, of course, Oprah is one of the first people they made a deal with. She's got
what a waste of money.
So speaking of money, they are throwing billions of dollars at this content. They also introduced a redesigned Apple TV service called with Apple TV channels. Basically, you can watch everything in one place. No jumping through apps. One login if you want to watch HBO, Hulu, Amazon, iTunes. It's all right there. Okay, so a couple of observations right off the bat. In this Apple TV channel service, everything but Netflix is there.
You won't be able to watch Netflix?
No Netflix. Where right now on Apple TV, you can download the Netflix is on there. Netflix said, we want people to watch our shit on our service. So this is interesting.
What do you think? The Apple's going to fuck with it?
So Apple, if you have an Apple TV, you have to, I don't understand. Would you have to download Netflix separately, or you won't be able to watch Netflix at all?
You can't. On this new redesigned Apple TV, which is now an app and a streaming service, there is no Netflix.
I'm saying, can you download it?
I don't know. On these last generation Apple TV models, you still can. This is not a hardware dependent thing now. So in this new app, Apple TV app, it's in this environment. There's no Netflix. You have to go to Netflix to watch Netflix. They're drawing a line in the sand.
Is Apple TV an app or is it a thing?
Okay, so
I'm having trouble understanding. So you have to go to Netflix. There is no Netflix.
There is no Netflix. So this is a shift.
I'm saying you said you have to go to Netflix. I'm asking, can you download Netflix?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, on your own phone separately, yes.
Right.
Not inside
this
thing. Not
on the Apple TV.
Here's another thing this signals. This is very interesting. This is a shift from them selling their hardware to selling services as products. This is what you're going to see. And I'll get into some other things they revealed. Because essentially with this Apple TV app and service, the Apple TV hardware box is obsolete. Because this thing's going to be on Roku. It's going to be on the Fire Stick. You can download it to any device. Right?
So the Apple TV so it's not a fucking TV. It's an app.
Correct.
You would download and then get all the other apps.
Correct. So
there's a bundle.
Yes. In the past, there were rumors of Apple working on an actual TV, but Apple's realized the money is not in this hardware. The money is in these services, and they've announced new services.
So let me comment on that.
It's a bundle, yes.
I read a little bit of this. What they realized is, again, like what you said, the devices are getting obsolete, or they're just not making people aren't buying enough new devices to sustain the business as much as they'd want. The money is now into getting streaming because streaming offers a monthly subscription model where they can get money every month rather than waiting for someone's fucking device to go kaput and then having to buy a new device 2 years later, which is what I would do with my phone.
Right. And currently the way it is on the Apple TV, like if you want to watch HBO, you can do that, but you have to have a separate login, separate account. You got to log into all these things like your Hulu. So this will be one login for everything. Now, is this innovative? Apple's kind of playing catch up in 2019 because Roku offers this exact same service. Amazon also kind of offers this exact same bundled service. And this is the thing we predicted a year ago. that there will be streaming bundles. It's the way to deal with this. But Apple has money and force. So, some more observations. They didn't show any trailers for any of these fucking shows. No footage, no nothing. They're just like, trust us, we're Apple. And also, no price.
No, I don't know. It's going to be a rough haul.
Here are my thoughts on it. I did see this. I saw a little bit of this. Like I said, I read the articles. From an article that I read that I kind of trust the writer, he said this was kind of a meh announcement, this whole thing.
A little bit.
A lot of people were just kind of, okay? I think the big problem is, and I have no idea if it's going to do well or not. And it could have really awesome shows and be the new juggernaut.
Yep.
But I feel like Apple's just really late to the game at this point.
It does feel like catch up a little bit, doesn't it?
Feels like a lot of catch up. I mean, we've had so many different apps announced at this point that instead of Apple being a big announcement for Apple, it just feels like another streaming service. In a point where now there's so many streaming services that to get all of these,
you're absolutely right.
You're paying as much as your cable bill at this point.
It should have been big and special, but it is just another thing
it's just another one.
Yeah.
You see, like, I like the idea of bundling.
Yes.
So let's say you pay let's say $40 or $50 for a bundle service, and you can choose the whatever 5 you bundle.
That's what this is. This is an a la carte service. You pick what you want to watch.
Yeah.
But couldn't be that, but it also can be its own thing, right? I don't know. I mean, we don't know all the details. They would need to
partner with all the cable networks, let's say, for example, like HBO, Cinemax, Showtime. So I could sit there and go, I want HBO, I want Cinemax, I want DC Universe, I want Netflix, and I want Amazon. So and I pay that premium for that bundle. So I'll get a discount on paying all of them. Let's say I get like a 20% discount on all of them.
Yeah, and Apple is now selling, they're passing off the savings, buying the bundles and those subscriptions. What you said is exactly what it's going to be. They will be talking to all those people. Everyone except Netflix is probably going to be part of this service.
So if you get Apple TV Plus, you're getting everything else?
So Apple TV Plus is different.
Okay.
Apple TV Plus.
Now this is all very confusing for me.
So the TV Plus is the streaming service for original programming.
So you can get that on its own.
Correct.
Or you can get the Apple TV app and get Apple TV plus everything else.
Yes. You would have to.
Sounds very confusing.
Yeah, and that's going to be like, if you were to sign up, you want HBO, I want Hulu, you would also be like, I want Apple TV Plus. This is your paid original programming.
And Netflix is going, we're not playing with that.
Exactly. CEO of Netflix is like, nah, we want people to watch the shit on our service. There's another.
What does Google? Does Google have any stake in any of this stuff?
Google has YouTube.
Google's got YouTube.
But they abandoned their premium thing. There is season 2 of Cobra Kai is coming out. I don't know if it's going to be behind a paywall. I heard they're abandoning their YouTube Red so I'm wondering how this is going to come out.
Hey, who's paying for that? Nobody I know.
So what it seems like to me, I mean, Apple's crazy late to the game.
Yeah.
But it seems like to me that we have 4 players running TV and movies right now. We have Netflix.
Yeah.
We have 4 or 5. Netflix, Amazon.
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah.
And now
Apple.
HBO.
Well, HBO. Okay, so HBO is
because Disney owns Hulu.
Yes,
Disney owns ESPN Plus. Disney owns Disney Plus. So that
fourth person is Time Warner, AT&T Time Warner, because
they don't have anything. No,
they own HBO.
And DC
and Warner Brothers. So that's the 5 big ones. You're absolutely right.
Then Google.
And then Google with YouTube.
And Amazon.
You said Amazon, yes. Yeah. Those are your major players that are providing all this content at the moment.
So how many? Is it 5?
But then you have like Showtime.
No,
Showtime. It's not streaming. Those are just content. Yeah, that's 5 or 6.
Showtime's owned by CBS, I believe.
Okay. Which is, who owns CBS? It's Universal, which is owned by NBC.
No, CBS isn't owned by Universal.
No.
CBS.
Because CBS has all access too.
I'm just trying to figure out where Google. So Google might want to jump in.
Google is going to have to step up but Cobra Kai is one great show.
CBS Corp. So it's
okay. It's its own thing.
I think that YouTube should just continue to do what YouTube does and not try and fuck with anything else because they're going to lose.
Well, there was a comic that I watched on fucking Joe Rogan. I forgot what the guy's name was, but he goes, YouTube's going to win all this.
Oh.
And we go in, they're like, why? He goes, YouTube is producing content by the minute for free.
Yes.
For everybody. Every fucking hour you can watch something.
They're not even paying for the content.
They're not even paying for their content. Where Netflix and Apple and so-and-so are paying billions upon billions of dollars to
make content. Yep.
To make content. Whereas YouTube, you can look up fucking anything and watch
They're underwater right now.
Yeah.
But they're serving ads. I just saw this piece on the news. This 7-year-old fucking kid reviews toys on YouTube. He has 18 million subscribers. Last year made $22 million fucking dollars.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit. What the fuck? Why are we podcasting?
The point the guy was making too is he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's like, I'm on this show. YouTube's getting 3 hours of content for free from you. Yeah. Whereas Netflix and all that have to pay billions to make that happen.
Not to mention all the ad revenue they're getting with the shit around there. So YouTube is an interesting player.
The only difference is on YouTube, obviously, you're not getting the production values that you would get from a Netflix or a whatever.
I found this other interesting article in the Hollywood Reporter. This guy's take is that Apple is not actually competing against the Hulus and the Netflix and the Amazons. They're looking at the bigger scale of things and competing with Comcast itself by being a huge media
Do you
service.
still have cable?
Yes.
Do you still watch it?
Maybe like 5 channels.
I hardly ever watch
I use it
TV.
more to play like the DVR recorded shows or watch movies or documentaries.
The only time I watch TV is when I watch the news.
I can't watch the fucking news anymore.
That's about it. I think only news.
Here's what I love about the Comcast. I can watch anything on Netflix and Amazon Prime. It's right from the Comcast box. It's very handy.
But you're paying way more.
Yes.
So Viacom owns CBS, by the way.
Oh, Viacom. There's the big player.
But
they own everything.
I have cable, but I increasingly every day, I only watch sports on cable. I'm increasingly every day thinking about going to YouTube TV or Sling or something like that. YouTube TV, I think, is $30 a month. Sling, I believe, is 20 or 40, and they give you a collection of channels that you only like maybe 30, 40 channels. And then I'll add some Netflix or whatever.
Like, I pay for cable just because I feel guilty for stealing all the shit that I watch. That's really why I do it. Otherwise, I would never pay for it.
Pay for the internet. That's enough. You shouldn't feel bad.
Yeah.
I really think they're trying to position themselves to take that cord cutting, this next generation of cord cutting people to be like, we don't need cable. I got Apple TV.
Sling is only, at its most, $25 a month.
Sling is that thing that just has the TV channels, right?
Has all your TV channels.
And you need it for news.
You just stream.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm paying way too much, and I added HBO, and now it's going to be more, but I'm only going to have it for a few months. But
doesn't have all the... Oh, so you just have basic cable on your own.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of people use the Sling. I don't know.
Well, if you have smart TVs, it makes sense.
Yes, that's true. And then, so, to close this up, here's some of the other shit. This was the headlining announcement. Here's how they started the big presentation. Apple News Plus, a new paid-for news service for $10 a month. Anybody, does this make sense when you could just Google things now? Apple has a credit card. What's unique about this credit card? You can apply on the phone. You have it instantly. If you want a physical one, they send you this like white titanium card. It has no numbers, no CVV, no expiration date. There's cash back and locked in rates or whatever. So backed by Goldman.
That sounds evil as fuck.
Yes, backed by Goldman and Sachs, Apple is now a credit card service provider.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Very weird. Again,
services. I do not approve of that.
This has nothing to do with tech, Apple.
That is not Rug Boy approved.
That is not Rug Boy approved.
I didn't really understand the credit card. What's the deal?
It's just a fucking credit card like you go to any place. It's a MasterCard.
Apple's got so much fucking money that it can now lend money out and charge people interest and enslave them like everybody else. They're turning into the fucking tyrants.
Yes.
Steve Jobs did not like this.
They are turning into our corporate overlords. Let's not forget, this is the world's first $1 trillion fucking company. They have lots of money.
Crazy.
And then the last thing they announced was Apple Arcade, a bunch of games. It's also subscription based.
Gives a shit.
Nobody cares. This is all the
Fuck 'em.
Listen, this is all services as products now. This is a change in how they're doing things.
I'm so mad at Apple.
In the future, they may stop fucking making computers altogether.
Why did you make me not like you anymore?
I know. I used to love you, Apple. I have literally.
You still love them. You still suck the dick of Apple.
Look, I'm staring at 5 Apple things right now. I love it for graphics, for Photoshop, for designing, but what is all this fucking corporate bullshit? Now, I forgot to mention the biggest fucking thing that bothered me. Steven Spielberg, did you guys catch this?
Oh, shit.
Hypocrisy much, Steven Spielberg? This is a guy who last month tried to change the rules for the Academy Awards to exclude Netflix movies from being eligible, and now he is here shilling for fucking Apple.
Well, I don't think those two things are... I don't think he expects to be honored by Oscar for doing TV stuff.
Oh, I'm sure he's going to want Apple TV movies to be...
I mean, this shit is TV.
It is in the name,
Look,
I
Steven
guess.
Spielberg's right, whether you fucking like it or not. This is fucking TV. You just watch it on your TV. It's not like you're going to the theater and having all the theater fucking shit that's involved with being in a theater.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you agree if a movie is in the theater for a few weeks to a month and then goes to Netflix, should it be eligible for a Best Picture
yeah,
Oscar?
because just doing that takes a lot of fucking work.
But this is what he didn't like.
There should be if it opens in one theater, then you're fucking get the fuck out of here. But it has to at least have a limited release. That's in a few cities.
That was his argument. But I think it's a little bit hypocritical that he's now at a streaming service.
What the difference? He fucking made a TV show. He makes a TV show. What does he care?
Yeah. So if he
expects that show to get an Oscar, then he's a dick.
He is just doing an Amazing Stories anthology.
Yeah, he did that before.
Is a good point.
How is he a hypocrite? Come on, Imran.
All right, you may have...
Stop listening to Twitter and what they fucking say. It fucking doesn't...
Hollywood media reporter.
Yeah, it makes sense out of these things. Come on.
I thought it was a little bit of a big old mixed message, but you cleared it up, Ruggs. Thank you very much.
Cut through the bullshit.
Anthony, you don't think it's hypocritical of him?
To what?
For him to promote Apple streaming when he was last month was being like, Netflix movies can't be eligible for Oscars.
I originally thought it was a little hypocritical, but I have to look back at what he originally said. Someone pointed out to me what he originally said. I'd have to look at it, but it's something where it doesn't make him look so bad.
Okay, so this is just the media overreacting
honestly,
to things.
I don't know enough to comment. On its surface, it looks a little hypocritical, but I haven't done enough research.
I think that if you look at it on the surface, it is hypocritical. But if you actually figure out what he's actually saying, it's like, this is TV.
Yeah.
It's not
it is
not
TV.
theatrical
It's different.
release.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to there's a distinction between two things.
I was overcome by the knee-jerk reactions on the internet, Ruggs.
I mean, sometimes, you're like, these things are movies. They're legitimate films, but they didn't release them in the theater. They released them in a different way. So, it's like saying, I don't know. I don't really know the difference, but it's like the difference between MMA, UFC, and doing MMA like Muay Thai. It's like two different things. They're similar, but they're not the same thing.
I think a Netflix movie should be, I guess it would just get an Emmy or a Golden Globe. I feel like it should be up for to be able to get an Oscar.
But they have to release it in the theater.
I don't personally mind it being up for an Oscar.
I'm saying a Netflix movie that's never been in a theater, or create a category. Best streaming movie.
No.
Okay.
Don't make a best streaming.
That I could go for because at least it puts it in a different class.
Yeah. But a movie is a movie. Well, who cares how you see it?
I'm more of the mindset a movie's a movie.
I get that the experience is, he's trying to promote people going to movies, but it's the same piece of art. It's just served up differently.
Here's my argument for why a movie is a movie and it being a movie. A lot of the movies that win Best Picture, not a lot of people see in a movie theater.
Yeah, but does it take away their merit?
Yeah, but I'm saying that movie going experience wasn't experienced by the majority of the people that are even out there,
regardless of the quality of the movie.
But I think that's the whole deal. It's like, okay, it's impossible to watch every single movie that's ever made.
Right.
So at least you have something to narrow it down. They've been released in theaters.
Yeah.
And then we can say, what's the best movie that was released in a theater?
Yeah.
Because it would be impossible, because there's so many fucking things that come out.
All right. Yeah, maybe.
So
we'll see.
I think there has to be some kind of a, like, how committed are you to this movie?
Yeah.
Like, putting it out on a streaming is like, there's no cost other than the actual studio making of the movie.
Right.
They don't have to promote it. They don't have to get it. They don't have to, like, sit there and work out a deal with all the theaters' distribution. Figure out all that other shit. So, like, they do have to do an extra amount of work to do that. So I think that they should be considered, and the other ones should be, like, kind of like disqualified because you didn't do that. Now, if we're just talking about what's a good movie, that's a different story, and, like, that's going to be a huge undertaking to try and figure out.
There is a made-for-TV movie category, and there's awards for them. All right, all good points. Listener, let us know what you think. Is Apple still innovating, or are they just trying to catch up in 2019 to everything? Join our Facebook group. It's called the Jock and Nerd Nation. Jock and Nerd. Exclusive closed group just for our listeners. Welcome a new member, Justin Cappadocia. Is that how I say his name, Anthony? I believe he's a buddy of yours.
Cappadocia, yes.
Cappadocia. He's Cappadolicious.
He's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Who is Cappadocious? Who is this guy?
He is a very good friend of mine.
Okay.
One of my best friends, but he more listens to the spin-off show.
Well, he better listen to this shit.
He does enjoy comic book stuff as well.
So. Well, happy to have you, Justin. I hope you hear this. Give me one fun fact about Justin, Anthony.
One fun fact. Yeah. Me and him in college got dared to make out with one another in a drinking daring game.
Tell me you did it.
And we almost did, and then at the last second I couldn't.
Oh, come on. It's for shock value.
Imran did that once.
Yeah, I couldn't kiss another guy. I just couldn't do it.
Listen, for the shock value, I'll do anything. Although I
can't believe you did that.
This was the days before.
Wait, you kissed another man?
Instagram. That's a story for another show.
I saw it.
Maybe there were witnesses. Maybe in the post show.
It's burned into my skull.
I'm so glad there was no social media when I was in college because, it'd get very awkward.
You didn't know that, Anthony?
I had no fucking clue.
That is a secret.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll discuss it in the post show.
You're gonna cut this out of the show.
Listener, no, I'm comfortable with this. It doesn't fucking matter.
Isn't all the shenanigans? I know all the shenanigans.
Rug Boy does know a lot of shenanigans that we've barely scratched the surface of. Anyways, moving on. This isn't awkward at all. Avengers Endgame. It's just under a month away. Geek boner. And I am super excited. And AMC, I believe, is giving us our actual runtime. They were advertising this movie will be 3 hours and 2 minutes long.
Oh, shit.
Which will be the longest MCU movie
I'm wearing a diaper
to date. So, hit the head before you get to the theater, drain the pickle.
It's a long movie. I enjoyed that, though.
I think
Would you wear a diaper to this?
You don't need a diaper. It's only 3 hours, you fucking baby.
Depends. Like, I know that I could just take a leak in the Depends and no one will know.
This whole fucking Apple thing, just a side note, has put me down the rabbit hole of looking at Sling TV versus YouTube TV versus Hulu Live TV.
Listen,
and trying to figure out what would be the best option for myself. So I'm sorry, I've been in and out of paying attention.
Put that aside for now, but I want a comparative retail chart later, and we'll tell the listener what is the best option.
I don't know what the best. There's so many. There's one chart I was already looking at.
You got to research a little bit.
Yeah.
You motherfucker, close those windows.
Roku versus Fire Stick. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Roku. You can subscribe to all the shit on Roku. Anyways, I think people can hold their fucking piss for 3 hours. Everyone relax.
I think so as well.
You don't need an intermission.
I don't know.
It'll be fine.
I'm not sure about that.
Be an adult. Marvel gave us some pretty cool posters this week.
Are they?
Are they? Here's what we got. 32 character posters.
See, I'd like to arrange these posters by lighting.
Here's the thing with the posters. 32 posters, 16 of them in color, 16 of them in black and white, all with the tagline, Avenge the Fallen. And there's a couple of spoilery reveals in these posters, you guys, right? What do you think?
Right.
A couple, yeah.
For example,
I enjoy these posters, by the way.
I mean, first of all,
they're simple.
Big heads, but look at the tone of this marketing in this movie. Like, these are not fun, colorful. Like, this is very somber, very dark, very serious, kind of like, what the fuck is going to happen?
Well, they all have like this rim lighting, except for Gwyneth Paltrow and except for Brie Larson.
Well, Gwyneth has it on her hair.
Yeah, but like her face is like lit up.
Oh yeah.
She looks like she should be in the center, and then Brie Larson should be just left of her, and then who else is really bright? And then Favreau is on the other side, and everybody else has got like different diminishing values of light.
But they're all big heads, and so in the color posters, it's the people that have survived Infinity War. But there's one surprising person that we did not know what their fate was, and now we know. It's Valkyrie.
Oh, shit.
Tessa Thompson in the colored posters. She made the snap. I did not know this.
I thought Okoye died, didn't she?
No, Okoye was there watching him get dusted. Remember?
Oh.
She's standing right there. Now, in the black and white posters is everyone who got dusted, and one person we didn't actually see get dusted shows up, and that's Shuri.
Oh, shit.
No longer with us. But, you guys, ironically, I think the people in the colored posters are the people we have to worry about now. Because some of these motherfuckers ain't making out of this movie. But do you think all of these characters are going to appear in Endgame? Like all 32 people will show up in some form?
That's the question we have.
They would have to, right? If you're showing me all these posters.
Yeah, I would assume if they're putting them on the poster, they'd have to. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see Valkyrie on here and Wong and what's her face,
Gwyneth
Paltrow's Pepper Potts.
Well, Happy Hogan, I didn't know.
Happy Hogan, and even what's her name from Wakanda,
Okoye.
I didn't think we'd see them. So if they're putting them on the poster, I would assume we're going to see them in the movie.
Whether for a cameo,
for how much, I don't know,
Yeah.
but. I mean, you mentioned how many people? 16?
So this is 32 total. 16 and
32.
16, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Well, it goes back to what Thanos said. Perfectly balanced.
Yes.
No love, though, for...
Who's missing?
Maria Hill.
Colby Smulders. I mean, really, she's a bit part. Like, M'Baku. What about Nakia? What was she doing?
No, who cares? Nakia wasn't in the last
And
one.
where is... They're still not showing Hulk in Hulk form, just Banner. So I thought was
I disqualify Nakia. She wasn't in Infinity War.
Oh, she wasn't in it at all, was she?
No love for Heimdall either. Idris
Oh,
Elba.
yeah.
We not promoting Deadshot now?
So I think we know Heimdall. Oh, yeah, he's Deadshot. Well, Heimdall is probably not coming back then. That's probably what that means. I mean, all these people hanging out in the Soul World.
Did you see the trolling posters with the Netflix characters?
Yes, that was good. There's been a lot of really good different ones.
Then there's one with Chris Pratt. It's all your fault.
Yes, that's a great one.
Pucker your anus or something
with Ant-Man. Yeah, up your anus. So it goes up to Thanos and explodes. I love the memes got out of control, but it's pretty interesting marketing again. I like this. We also don't see Thanos in any of these. What do you?
No Thanos.
No Thanos. Until we get to the international poster, we'll get to in a second. But I want to ask you guys this: the Infinity War was kind of Thanos' point of view movie. Whose point of view is Endgame going to be from? Everybody? Is there going to be a main point of view character?
It's got to be Cap.
That's what I'm thinking.
It feels like all the marketing, or at least all the trailers, is very Cap heavy.
Yes.
His voiceovers, his perspective. I feel like the last movie was, out of the three Avengers, it was Thor and Iron Man.
Yeah.
They got the most love, and Cap was kind of put on the back burner, and they owe this one to Cap. Also, it's the Russos.
Yeah. The
Russos love Cap. It's his movie.
Now, how much focus do you put on people who did not have any focus in the last movie?
Right.
So
the most interesting thing for me about this movie is the fact that they decided to put Nebula on the Avengers.
Whoa.
So out of left field.
Yeah, they flipped her.
I'm kind of interested to see how that works. Because she's a nothing character in the comics and was a kind of a big character.
She's a big character in an Infinity Gauntlet.
So I think she's going to have a big role in this, and
she's the one who puts it on and fixes everything.
That's true. She did have that,
but they don't. They're not follow. They don't follow any of the comics for the most part.
They're probably going to give her a nod, though.
Yes, where maybe she grabs it for a second. Carol Danvers probably a big part of this, and Valkyrie. It would be great to see Valkyrie.
Whatever happened to Shannon Carter?
Oh. Agent 36 was it, or 33? Peggy Carter's
she just
granddaughter.
Disappeared.
Yeah, what did happen to her?
She gone.
Like, we can't have too many blonde chicks in this movie.
They're gonna get it confused. They all look the same. And then finally, so tickets on sale Tuesday, April 2nd for Endgame, which will be very soon. And they released this international poster in China. Here's a big surprise.
Oh, shit.
It's coming out 2 days early in China, April 24th. They've been trying to set a day and date all around the world so that there are no spoilers. So we got to watch out 2 days early. There may be some spoilers. Early release in China, Chinese poster featuring all the people that survived. And then in the foreground in silhouette, all of the fallen heroes. And then in the background, Thanos. I counted, there's 29 people on this one poster.
Jeebus.
Yes.
This poster is a lot better.
I kind of like this international Chinese poster.
Than what I like the idea of, or I like the main characters being up front and then the ones that are dead in the shadows and then Thanos looming on top. I kind of like this, at least the idea of this poster better. It's
nice layered and it's got the pyramid design, the triangle, that a lot of these posters have.
Maybe take out Thanos in the background.
Ruggs, you like this poster or is it just too Photoshoppy for you?
It's not bad. It's just a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Still no Hulk, just Banner, and you got Cap with his shield. Holding
like you got all the people that are alive, all the dead people underneath in silhouette, and then you got Thanos in the back. But just so many characters, it's just like it's like a lot.
It can be a mess, but it's nicely layered and nicely separated.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, so cool stuff from China. Last thing I want to ask you guys is about Endgame. Infinity War, when it came out, opening weekend made $257 million domestically, $640 million globally. Opening weekend.
Oh, shit.
Do you think Endgame can break $300 million domestic opening
It'll do
weekend?
400.
What?
Opening weekend?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It'll do 400.
Opening weekend?
Yeah.
Ruggs may be onto something because...
What did Infinity War do?
257 domestic. You're talking a big jump.
Yeah, I would go maybe 300. I would actually go less.
It's a lock for 300.
Wow.
It's a lock.
That's a...
Wow.
Oh.
Good prediction.
What did Captain Marvel do? 150?
153 domestic.
So it'll double that.
So you think, shit. I mean...
Is there predictions out
yes.
already? What's the prediction?
Because of the early release on China... The box office.
Well, that has nothing to do with anything domestic.
Sorry. I'm talking about total global. The big global news. I don't know what the domestic prediction is, but now because of the early release in China, they're predicting this thing could reach $800 million opening weekend.
I agree.
As high as 850. And to do that, Ruggs, it would need to make $400 million domestic opening weekend.
I 100% agree.
Holy shit, dude.
Shit.
This thing could shatter all records.
Dude, this is the first movie I'm trying to get tickets for like a month, like almost a month
You
in
could get them
advance.
Tuesday, April 2nd.
This is the first movie.
I literally just sent my myself a note to buy the tickets April 2nd.
Next Tuesday.
I had when I was buying tickets for Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
I usually buy them the week of and have no problem.
Right.
Captain Marvel was one of the first ones where I was trying to buy the week of and I couldn't get the time slot I wanted.
Damn.
The week of, yeah, I got
You
it.
gotta do
I
it
got no
earlier.
problem though. The week after,
Yeah.
Oh, the week
Like
after,
that following Monday was empty. The theaters.
Jesus. So I think we could safely assume this thing is going to be a bigger box office haul than Infinity War, being how
I
much?
would have thought it would have been less, but
Right?
I don't know. I feel like that everybody's been talking about it. That's all that everybody's been talking about.
We'll
true.
see what happens. It's coming up very quickly. Last thing about the MCU, Angelina Jolie joining the MCU in talks to debut as the female lead in this Eternals movie.
Who is the female lead? You think that like that's the question. Who is she playing?
Right.
they announced it, right?
Rumor is
Rumors.
it's the character called Cersei. Now, Ruggs, you shared this article. I'll put it in the show notes.
There's three main characters
Yes.
that they're thinking of doing that are
Break
female.
it
You have
down.
Elysius.
Yes.
All right, which is a artificially created being, and it's an Eternal. She's a long lifespan, telepathic abilities. She keeps griffin-like creatures that obey her telepathic commands. She has a hand weapon capable of disrupting force fields. So that's like, she's like kind of like the elder one. Then you got Cersei, who wants to live amongst humans. She's a lot like she
She's a
she
huge
doesn't
bitch
age.
in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
Cersei.
Yeah, so then you got, of course, Thena, which is a Wonder Woman amalgam.
Oh.
She's kind of like the warrior princess. And she like has like weapons and shit, like a staff and other shit. And she kind of like shoots arrows with a bow with cold energy. So she's more of like a warrior princess.
I feel like it could be Cersei. Here's the thing about Eternals. Directed by Chloe Zhao. I know none of these characters, like Star Fox or
Cersei
Piper.
used to be an Avenger.
Oh, okay.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Back in remember when Avengers had like a shitty team and they had like the Black Knight and shit? Cersei was in that team.
Oh, I'm familiar with Star Fox a little bit from something.
Yeah,
I know.
he's like he slays a lot of women.
Isn't Star Fox Eros, which is Thanos' brother?
I believe yes. He's an Eternal.
Thanos
yeah, these are all Eternals.
related
Yep.
is somewhat related to the Eternals.
Yes, because
He's an Eternal Titan, a mutant Titan. Eternal.
He's a deviant.
Deviant.
right. The Celestials created the
But
Eternals.
he's also a mutant, right?
Thanos is a mutant. No,
Like a mutant Titan.
Oh.
He's not a normal Titan either.
Oh, he's like a hybrid Titan.
yeah, that's what I think. I have to look it up.
But look, I think it's a great casting get, especially if she can get Billy Bob Thornton to come and do a cameo.
So the
Thanos
top
is
two,
an eternal deviant hybrid.
Oh,
There you go.
Eternal Deviant Hybrid.
yeah. So the Eternals, the main guy is Icarus, and then Cersei would be another like the most known, and then Star Fox. Is that his name? Star Fox.
Star Fox, yes.
Is the third like most known, and then Thanos, obviously everybody knows.
What is cool about this?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. Do you think, look, they got Guardians of the Galaxy to work. Do you think people are going to be into cosmic Eternals and Celestials from thousands of years
they
ago?
can do this. This could be their answer to the Justice League, where Avengers are. It's not the Justice League.
Yeah.
They're not like these mythical beings. They're just like people that are doing shit. A lot of them are just human, like Falcon, Cap, and
Right.
all these people. There's a few people with powers, but like they're mostly like people augmented with technology and stuff.
They could create the mutants in the MCU.
Well, I think that these are going to be the gods. Like
Oh.
they're more like the celestial beings. They're like representative of like mythology and stuff.
We've seen some.
How different are these than the new gods in DC? Are they basically the same?
They're
shit?
basically very
it's
similar.
the same parallel.
Because Kirby created both of
Yeah,
them, right?
Kirby cut and paste, basically stepped and repeat these
I forgot
guys.
which one he did first. He either did this.
New Gods.
He did New Gods first, and then he came over and he's like, I'm just going to
wait.
repurpose this shit. But
Wait, let me read this. Actually, it might not be.
I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, no, you're right. The Eternals were first.
Yeah.
Because he did Eternals, and then he went to DC, and he's like, I'm going to do this.
Well, he got-
I'm going to do this right.
Shit, I fucked that up. I think it was the New Gods.
fuck.
New Gods were 1971.
Uh-huh.
Eternals were 1976.
Yeah, Kirby got fucked up by Marvel so much he went to DC and made the new
it
guys.
was the other way around.
Yeah,
He did the New Gods.
No, but he did. No, so he left Marvel. Did the DC? Went to DC. Started the New Gods,
Yeah,
and
and
then
came back.
and then
Do
did the
Marvel
Eternals.
version of New Gods.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he did a lot of stuff for both companies. But I love the Jack Kirby influence, of course, always. Kirby Crackle. Oh, I'm more.
This is like really out there for
yeah,
me.
man.
But I'm gonna probably watch it because I'm a shill for this shit. I'm just saying the New
I think
Gods and
the
the Eternals have never really appealed to me.
I
Go
think
ahead,
the
Rex.
Eternals are better than the Inhumans, which
Yes.
they were going to hang their hat on that.
Yes.
Ooh, the
And
Inhumans.
that-
Yeah.
Inhumans is complete dog shit. You can't do anything with a girl's hair who has her power is her hair, and a guy who can't talk.
Yeah, that's hard.
Like, these are things you can't
Yes.
do in a movie. They're shit. So you have a dog that teleports. This is all dog shit stuff for movies.
Well, it works better
So-
on the page, for sure.
Yeah, it works better if you're a weirdo reading weirdo comics. But like now the Eternals, there's a little bit more fucking shit that you can do with it because they're like, first of all, they're cosmic. You can make them anything you want. So, and nobody loves them. Nobody cares about them. So you can pretty much change everything and I think what they're going to do is make it as like a mythological answer to the gods.
I saw the gods of the MCU. Huh.
So I'm here's the first sentence of their biography, which I could see how this would tie in. When the Celestials visited Earth 5 million years ago and performed genetic experiments on early proto-humanity, they created two divergent races, the long-lived Eternals and the genetically unstable and monstrously grotesque Deviants. These experiments also led to the capacity for superpowered mutations in humans. They also performed this experiment on other planets, such as the Kree and Skrull homeworlds, with similar results. So this could basically be the start of the Marvel universe.
Yes, this.
So does that mean Thanos? He's a deviant. Is he a human deviant, or is he a Skrull deviant, or is he because he's got the butt chins like a Skrull?
Anthony just said it.
What's that?
What Thanos was?
He's a hybrid.
He's a hybrid of a deviant and an
eternal.
Yes, eternal deviant hybrid. Look, if they created the Inhumans, the Kree, the Skrull, like they could all tie this all together nicely. I just hope people are going to be into seeing, the past, kind of like the Game of Thrones prequel 5,000 years ago.
Thanos, let's just read. Thanos was born on Saturn's moon Titan as the son of Eternals Alars and Soy-San.
Right.
His brother is Eros of Titan.
Yeah.
Thanos carries the deviance gene and as such shares the physical appearance of Eternal's cousin race.
Which is like the Skrull or something.
No, the deviant.
Oh,
the deviants are supposed to look like shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's why his face all scarred and shit.
Yeah. Oh man, this is there's a lot to wrap my head around.
Not convoluted at all. All right, well, look.
Well, this is what happens when you have something that you're making a film about that really the mainstream doesn't really know about.
Yeah.
You have to be like really into Marvel and into the history to be into the Eternals.
It's going to be interesting to see how they present.
I feel
this.
like the Eternals, like Guardians, you could do whatever the fuck you want because no one gave a shit about the Guardians. I feel like the Eternals, if you're gonna do the Eternals, you kind of gotta at least stay a little loyal to the comics because that's what makes them cool. Is they're the gods, the creation, and if they stick to that stuff, that's some wacky shit. It seems like.
Which is a lot.
It could be cool.
Yeah,
it could be cool. It just seems pretty wacky.
It could be dog shit, but it could be cool. Like anything goes. Yeah, really.
Yeah. We'll see in the next phase of the MCU.
That's a very curious choice.
Yeah.
I'm very curious as well to see how that plays out.
After this Endgame movie, it's going to be so different. Like
Angelina Jolie.
I think a lot of people are going to be done with Marvel movies maybe after Endgame.
Maybe.
Like they're going to be like, I'm good. I saw the 22 stories. I don't need to keep going.
Yeah, I don't need to hear about these heroes that no one gives a shit about.
It's going to be very interesting to see how they present what's next, or even if they tell us what's next. Or
like, I'm over like Guardians of the Galaxy already, right?
Yeah,
so I'm over them. Yeah. Like this kind of group that nobody cared about that they made the movie about. So they tried to make something out of nothing. And okay, I'm done caring about that. The only people I really still care about is the Avengers, and they're going to go away.
Yep.
Black
Panther, I kind of give a shit about.
Let's go down the list. Doctor Strange.
I might watch another Doctor Strange movie.
Half
Spider-Man.
I will do Spider-Man all day long.
I mean, I feel obligatory have to watch, but I hate watching.
You hate watching it. And then Captain Marvel.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd rather see a Silver Surfer. I'd rather see Silver Surfer. I'd rather see Wolverine.
Yeah,
I'd rather see Ben Grimm do something cool. Yeah. I don't know.
Shang-Chi? Like, this is what we're looking forward to.
What about Shang-Chi?
I'd rather watch it. I'm interested to see what they do with him. Right. I want to see Moon Knight, goddammit.
Oh, Moon Knight would be great on
I'd like to see a real Daredevil movie.
Dark Moon Knight.
Moon Knight does not fit
any of this.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's fucking amazing. Yeah. Let's do it.
Schizophrenic Daredevil Batman mashup. All right, last thing in the news. I put this in there for the kaiju fans out there. Godzilla King of the Monsters coming out May 31st. And they just put out a short 1-minute new teaser called Beautiful.
I wish they would stop doing
and,
this.
Ruggs, they showed a lot of cool shit.
Like, I'm already in.
Dude.
You got me, okay? I'm going.
There's a lot of new footage in this.
Stop ruining shit. I want to see it in the theater and be fucking... I want to blow my load in the theater. I don't want to, like, already be, like, shooting blanks by the time I go in
Anthony, what do you think? I hope they haven't showed us everything, but this got
really
me more
enjoyed
excited.
it.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. No, don't get me wrong. It's really good. I am with Ruggs, though. They're starting to show too much.
Yes.
Now, with the stuff with Godzilla and them being like, okay, we're on his team now, and they're unlocking him, and then, I mean, the scene with Rodan and King Ghidorah, we already got that tease where they're flying at each other. I didn't need to see King Ghidorah grasp Rodan.
That shot where they're grappling in the air and falling,
I didn't need to see that.
Cool, but yes, I hope they're not blowing us and showing all the good parts.
Those all would have been money shots to see in a movie.
Do you think that this is like...
more? I hope there's more.
I think this shows a lack of confidence in the studio. This is
showing a lot.
I could see that. I think they're trying not to get lost in the Avengers hype.
Yes.
That's why I think this was a mistake to put this movie this close to Avengers. I don't know what if they had any other dates that they could have gotten, but
they might not have. This is just the hand
in the wake of the Avengers is tough.
But if this is the hand they're dealt, they're trying to get people still interested.
Ruggs did mention this off air, but I agree with him. I do think this movie will do relatively okay.
Yeah,
and I tickled to death to that the casual fan will know who King Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan is.
Yeah,
I think that this could be a game changer. even though I don't think, like, Toho wants Godzilla back, right?
Right.
But I think it could be a game changer for people, how they think about monster movies. Because, like, Pacific Rim came out. It was a great movie, but no one saw it when it came out. Then they released another one and
did nothing.
And it kind of was a downgrade, and nobody wanted to see it. Like, it made no money. It made shit money. It flopped at the box office. So I'm like, I was bummed out because I was like, oh, finally we have a fucking property, an American property that has kaiju and fucking robots in it, and like doing this crazy shit, creating this world and doing all this crazy world building, and nobody's like into it enough for it to survive. And I would hate for that to happen to this legendary world where they're building up Kong, they're building up Godzilla, they're releasing, you know, mystery kaiju in this movie. They said there's like, and they had a list of names that they released, you know, in an interview of like Methuselah and the Leviathan and all these other things. So they're probably like trying to create new shit and hoping that this movie does well enough that they could keep making movies like that. I think they want to establish like a MonsterVerse or something.
Of course, they're all in. We're going to get Godzilla versus Kong. You know, they're going to work on that. So, but it is a good point. How much does it need to make?
Magazine articles, like they basically were talking about that they were going to, you know, show you a bunch of new stuff.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Dude.
So like if people don't see it, it's going to be for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So people got to go see it. Even if it sucks.
Go see it.
Go see it.
Dude, this shot
see it
of
twice, even if it
Ghidorah
sucks.
On a volcano in the background with a cross in the it's gorgeous. Like, there's a lot of gorgeous stuff.
There's some very beautiful imagery that they've already
lightning and like the different palettes, like the orange and the blue and it looks great.
As I've said to friends, the fact that they're treating the kaiju with respect is enough for me, and it seems like they're doing that.
Hopefully, it'll get kids, you know, interested in Godzilla and kaiju and monsters. Like, it looks like a great movie for the young teens, kids getting into this. So,
and then I don't know. I think it's like if they're making a new universe and they're world building this thing out, that's cool for like little kids that love dinosaurs and love big monsters and love fucking fantasy. You know, like we've had all this other stuff. We've had superheroes for like 10 years. We've had this and that, but we haven't had anything like this that that really caught on. It'd be cool.
It brings up a good point. Dinosaur shit is always huge. Why isn't it the same thing with kaiju monster movies?
Because there's a stigma.
This is better than dinosaur shit, though.
Well, it's silly.
It's silly, and it's men in suits. So
that's true.
I mean, if this will do well.
Yeah. Well, Jurassic Park hangs its stuff on the human characters.
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
So when it released this new Jurassic World, it put like, you know, what's his name in there?
Chris Pratt.
Peter Quill. And the other
Bryce
Dallas Howard. And they stuck with those characters, even though like they're both. I like Chris Pratt a little bit better than Bryce Dallas Howard, but in those movies. But like, I don't know why, but like, I feel like he fits better in those movies than he does in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he's much better in that role. But you can stick with those guys. You could make another movie with him in it. Yeah, you can follow him. So I think they're trying to do this with Millie Bobby Brown. Yep. Maybe.
You know, and that's smart. People love her.
And she's going to grow into the role. Like, she'll be like an 18-year-old girl or a 20-year-old girl if they keep going. You know what I mean? And then the fans can grow up with her as well.
So that's a smart move. And I remember when I first watched Stranger Things, I was like, this girl is really good. We're going to see her in a lot more stuff. I thought it was a breakout role. And
if it works, if it doesn't work, we're fucked.
Well, look, just go May 31st, pay for a ticket, sit down, fuck Jurassic World.
I watched this trailer one more time.
Yeah. They showed a lot.
And they show too much. There's a shot of Mothra getting fried with the fucking gravity beams from King Ghidorah.
Why are you showing me this? All right.
You basically see Rodan and Mothra getting his ass kicked.
No more trailers.
Come on, stop.
I don't want to see any more Avengers Endgame or Godzilla shit until the movie comes out.
Yeah,
we're going to take a quick break right here, play some promos. We'll be right back with a listener-sponsored movie review just for you right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Throwback Thursday from the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast, along with my co-host Bill. Every Thursday, we bring you classic hip-hop.
Classic.
Straight classic.
You know, all the good stuff, the stuff that you forgot about, the golden age, pre-golden age, back to the original era.
For all the pioneers, I'm going way back, way back, way back.
Each week, we bring you hip-hop headlines, so we let you know what's going on with your favorite artists from back in the day. We bring you Wu News. We dedicate an entire segment just to the Wu-Tang Clan every week.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
We bring you 2 records. One is a one and done. One is a record of the week. We give you an artist of the month. We give you all the classics.
Classic.
Straight classic.
Come and check us out. Every week, we're on iTunes, Stitcher, and at MrThrowbackThursday.com. And if you remember nothing else, always remember, new school stale, old school fresh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll get you back to your podcasty goodness now in a minute.
First, we'd like to take a second to tell you about our marginally better podcast, the 365 Flicks podcast.
I am the Scottish weeding whore, Chris.
And I am the Pissy X video store clerk, Kev.
And we bring you the latest movie and TV news, reviews, and rants.
All that and a bunch of top 5s that you really will not care about.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Libsyn, and all other third-party podcasting apps.
And on top of all that, you'll get free access to our indie talk. You'll hear us speaking with directors, producers, actors, comic book creators, and artists about their experiences.
Don't forget to drop us 5 stars and follow us on the Facebooks and the Twitters.
Told him not to go in the water.
Listener, join our fan club. It's at jockandnerd.com/Patreon. You can support the show. There's various tiers with a bunch of fresh perks, and everyone gets access to an exclusive RSS feed that has bonus content, whole episodes, instant reactions, and all the shows come out early, meaning the Jock and Nerd podcast and spin-off show episodes. They drop there first whenever I can get them there first. Sometimes it's at the same time.
Sometimes it's the same time.
Sometimes it's later. But
Imran works hard.
When I can, I like to give a little day ahead to our Patreon peeps. Thank you for your support. There's also a new Jock Talk. Jock Talk's back with Chaz.
Their bottom is very weak.
Still has a weak bottom.
Yep.
So I want to take
their bottom, not his bottom.
Not his bottom, their bottom.
He's got a very firm bottom.
He's got a nice taut bottom like Tom Holland in a Spider-Man costume.
Absolutely.
Yes. Listener, last year around this time, we had a little Patreon pledge drive. I believe it was April. It was brought on by Seth Morgan and all our listeners. It was a monetary drive. It surprised the shit out of us how well it went. Remember that? Remember how towards...
we should do that again.
Yes. We are doing it again, Ruggs. I'm glad you said that. But good idea. This time for the month of April 2019, we are not going for not a monetary goal, but a new patron goal. Here's the deal. Ooh. Currently, we have 55 patrons. Thank you.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Great.
It's great. I thank each and every one of you for your support. It's amazing. Here's the deal. We want to reach, in the month of April, 15 new patrons.
Oh, shit.
Get us to a total of 70 patrons.
Nice round number of 70. Now, if we hit this goal, something happens. Here's what happens. All the new patrons that have signed up and any existing supporter Patreon member who increases their pledge by as little as $1, all those names we're going to put in a hat. I'm going to pull a random draw right on the show, and you will win a Jock and Nerd prize pack, which consists of Jock and Nerd t-shirt, Jock and Nerd stickers, Jock and Nerd. You will get a movie of your choice to force us to review, Jock and Nerd, and we will do a video shout out of the 3 of us just for you. Yes, we are stealing this idea from Cameo.com. Jock and Nerd.
How long is this shout out going to be? 5 minutes?
Well,
we can riff for them, do a little private show.
We can riff as long as it feels good. Ooh, who doesn't want to see Rug Boy's boobs? You can have a chance.
I'll show them to you.
To win to see Rug Boy's boobs.
I think for the new listener, or then the new patron, the new potential patron, all you have to donate is as little as $1 to get into this.
A little as $1 a month gets you into this drawing.
Just $1.
We're trying to
scrounge up those coins.
Yeah, you got coins right underneath you.
In your couch cushion, that lint in your pocket. you can come up with $1.
I guarantee the listener is driving right now, and if they look down, they will see change sitting in the little fucking cubby holes.
$12 a year, and you get all of us.
That's it. And for existing patrons, you want in? Just throw in another $1. You are in the contest.
$1.
You have the same chances.
Well, we got to hit that 15 new patrons.
You got to hit that 15. Yes.
Yeah. If we don't hit
pressure people,
if we don't hit 15 new patrons, then all of this. We appreciate your support, but the raffle goes away.
And if we do, there may be a stretch goal if we get there early. And we will announce everything at the end at the first show next month. So all of April, sign up, jockandnerd.com. You will be doing yourself a favor. Way more hours of us horseshitting in your ear holes. All right. We are going to get to our very special movie review. This is a listener-sponsored, Patreon-sponsored movie review of the movie Predestination from 2015, starring Ethan Hawke, sponsored by Joe Henry, listener and longtime Patreon supporter, Joe Henry.
And he was on the show.
He was on the show, episode 182. Anthony, another quiz. What can you tell me about listener Joe Henry?
He's got a little vitiligo dick.
He is my vitiligo brother, Joe Henry. We both have vitiligo on our peni.
You've lucked out, Joe, because some of these go just on Patreon. Some of these will go on the main feed, and this one just happened to go on the main feed because we don't have much else to talk about.
So
this week.
Joe has signed up at the tier where he gets to come on the show and pick a movie for us to review. You could do the same thing, listener, jockandnerd.com.
What are those tiers?
/Patreon. $10 a month gets you a movie review. $20 a month gets you a movie review and a chance to come hang out on the show like Joe did. So go listen to 182 and you'll find out more about Joe. Before I hit the spoiler alert, I have to say this. If you had any inkling, any desire to watch this movie, if you love time travel movies and you have not seen this, stop now. You have to watch this movie without being spoiled. You cannot talk about this movie without spoiling it. And that's what we're going to do right now. So pause it, listen to it, watch the movie, come back, do whatever you want. Here's your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
You've been very much forewarned.
Yes.
On this one.
Yeah, it's all bets are off. Dick.
This is a mind fuck of a movie. I love this pick, Joe Henry. This movie is based on the short story All You Zombies by legendary sci-fi writer Robert A. Heinlein. So we're starting with some good source material. Written and directed by Michael and Peter Spierig. The Spierig brothers. Main cast, like I said, Ethan Hawke, Sarah Snook, and that's really about it that you're going to know, that you need to know.
There's only like 3 characters in this movie.
There's a lot of people listed as side parts, but yeah, there's 3 characters, or are there? We'll get into that. Rotten Tomato score, 84% for this movie. Average rating, 6.8 out of 10. Not bad. And so box office, this was a very small, independent, tiny movie. Didn't have a huge budget. An opening weekend made $44,000. I have conflicting reports of where overall it made like just $2 million, or domestic it made $68,000.
It was an Australian produced movie?
Yeah, Australian produced and shot and released there and in the UK primarily, and then like in small artsy theaters, probably for a small
Like how much
run.
could have this cost to make?
You know what? It's got to be under 20 million.
I would say like
Less
under
than
10 million.
Yeah, I'd go 5 to 10 million at the most.
Low budget. Only in the 20 theaters for like 3 weeks. So this is not like your big money making movie. This thing did go to South by Southwest and movie festivals.
Production company was Screen Australia, which threw me through a loop when that came up first, because I had no idea that this movie was made was an Australian science fiction thriller. So I just going, what? What studio is what?
Yeah, I mean,
what are we doing here?
It's not like they don't have Australian accents at the movie. It's
No,
just,
not at all.
It's shot entirely in
Well, The Matrix
Melbourne.
was shot in Australia.
Yeah, what's that?
Matrix.
Matrix was shot there. What was that other movie we were talking about? Oh, fucking Ghost Rider, entirely shot in Melbourne.
but those were both produced by big studios.
Yes. So this is tiny studio, tiny indie, kind of very ambitious movie. The synopsis of this movie is a temporal agent played by Ethan Hawke embarks on a final time-traveling assignment to prevent an elusive criminal from launching an attack that kills thousands of people. That doesn't even fucking scratch the surface of this movie. I want to start with our overall thoughts, but I feel like we kind of have to recap this maybe. I don't know how many people have seen this movie. And the only way to talk about it is to talk about what the fuck happened in this crazy movie?
Now, wait a minute.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
You saw this on your own.
I saw this a while ago, and I saw it a second time.
Why did you watch it on your own?
Because for a while I got into like really independent time travel movies. Like I actually started with like Primer, and that led me to Time Crimes, and then that led me to this movie. And I was just on this kick of fucking time travel movies. So
you're watching Looper.
Looper is another one, and Donnie Darko and 12 Monkeys. I was like in this kick. I was like, I want to see all these fucking time travel movies. I was just digging it. Right. And I discovered this one. So, have you guys seen this movie before? No.
No, I've been wanting to watch it because I've heard like interesting things about it.
So this is the first time.
I was aware of this movie, but I had not seen it.
All right. Okay. I think we should start with what did you guys think of the movie, and how do we fucking explain this movie?
Like, how do you recap this? Like, to tell you the truth, I really don't know what happened.
Oh, you
don't? I think the easiest way to recap it is to not try to recap it chronologically, nor how it happened in the movie. But just say that it is a movie about a couple predestination paradoxes where a guy is tricked into killing himself in the future, who then also births himself in the past. And you just have to fucking watch it because there's no way to describe it.
So we'll jump to the big twist is that there's the character of Jane, there's a character of John, there's a character of a barkeep played by Ethan Hawke, there's a character of
which is John,
but then there's a character of a fizzle bomber, and there's a baby, and all 5 of these people are the same fucking person.
Oh shit!
I would go 4. The barkeep is just John.
Yeah.
I'm saying that is just John playing as a barkeep.
John Barkeep.
Yeah.
There's John.
So I would go 5 here. I'd go the baby.
Holy fuck.
I'd go female Jane.
Yes.
I'd go male John. Yeah. That looks still like female Jane. Then Ethan Hawke John, reconstructed John, and then Fizzle Bomber John,
which is reconstructed John,
who lost his mind.
Right. And those are all the same person. And they're all interacting with one another.
Let's try and figure out this. Okay, so basically, the story is that there is time travel is created in the 80s.
Yes, the only rule is in 1981, time travel was invented.
All right, so they need people. They need an agent, somebody without any family or any ties,
no connections,
to be part of this program to test it out.
You can only jump 53 years plus or minus of 1981.
So somehow, and I don't know, this is the part where I got lost. Somehow they orchestrated a hermaphrodite to be born.
Yes.
All right. And the reason is that the hermaphrodite could impregnate itself if they met in 2 different times. One, she grows up as a woman, right? Yeah. She's an orphan that grows up as a woman and then somehow gets impregnated by his future self who has turned into a man.
Right.
And the cycle continues, I guess.
The agent...
but the thing that's confusing about that is for the baby to be born...
How did it start?
Well, not only that,
but... nobody's seen that she's got fucking a penis and a vagina her whole life?
The penis is inside her.
It was hidden.
But what I'm confused about is not only the chicken or the egg thing, but the reason that baby is born the way it is as a hermaphrodite is because
he fucked himself.
Yeah, the parents are both hermaphrodites that fucked each other.
But they're the same.
But how do they get that baby? How did that baby become created in the first place?
Because, so at some
There's
point,
nothing. That baby has to. Where does that baby come from?
So this is
patient 1, patient 0.
This whole movie deals with paradoxes, predestination paradoxes. There's actually kind of 3 closed paradox loops that are going on where they've used this agent who is in charge of not only his death but his birth, and the cycle continues, and the same guy is locked in 3 things that allows him to jump in and out of time.
I just don't understand the birth, the original birth.
At some point, this Robertson guy had to have gotten the actual baby that was born and killed it and replaced it from the future.
I don't know how to kill it.
I don't know.
He had to have found a hermaphrodite baby.
There's some things you just don't need to pull on.
People who are listening to this have no idea what's going on.
Let's put this in context real quick. The movie starts with this guy trying to defuse a bomb. He's an agent. The bomb blows up. This guy's face is burnt. somebody shows up to help him get his time travel device and disappear. It cuts to him, reconstructed face, stapled. He gets up. You see Ethan Hawke. Now, it cuts to 1970. Ethan Hawke is a bartender. This dude, John, walks in. And he bets him a bottle of booze that I got a crazy story to tell you. And Ethan Hawke is like, I'm listening. And the first thing he says is, when I was a little girl. And you're like, oh, shit. But he's like, what? So he goes to explain that he was an orphan, a baby found in an orphanage that grew up, that was kind of meek and quiet and didn't have any friends, wanted to be in the space program.
A girl.
A girl. It's a girl. He's a girl. This is a girl named Jane. She grows up. She loves science. She tries to join the space program, which is secretly the time travel program. They tell her there's something wrong with her body and let her go. She goes to college, bumps into this dude. They don't show you this guy. She's telling the story. You just see a raincoat and a fedora. They have a relationship. One day at a park bench, this dude gets up and just walks away and leaves. She realizes she's pregnant. When she has this baby, the doctor tells her there's something wrong with you. When we opened you up, we found both sets of sex organs. Not fully matured. You had both sets. After the baby, your uterus was destroyed, and we could save what we did, and we've given you a male urinary tract and a penis, and you will be taking testosterone, and you will become a man and have the surgeries. And now this woman is John, who then becomes a writer who writes confession stories. At this point, Ethan Hawke goes, I know that guy who ruined your life. I can put him in front of you. John's like, what the fuck? Shit. He's like, do you want revenge? Free and clear? Come with me. He takes John. They travel back to the moment in the story where Jane met the guy. It's him. He falls in love with himself. He literally fucks himself, impregnates himself. Meanwhile, John is gone back in time, or no, he's gone forward in time, stolen the baby, brought him back to the orphanage in 1945 to complete that loop. And then it gets even more confusing. Then the guy leaves. He tries to stop the fizzle bomber. His face explodes. He becomes John, who then becomes the
by trying to stop the fizzle bomber.
Yes.
He fucks up, and the fizzle bomber gets away.
Yes.
And the fizzle bomber, by trying to distract the fizzle bomber or stop the fizzle bomber and failing, he ends up inadvertently causing
a huge disaster.
Causing the disaster that John's face gets burnt up and has to be reconstructed to turn into Ethan Hawke's face.
Right. So what is the fizzle bomber? He's a guy who bombs places?
Yeah, he's just
the fizzle bomber is a man that is old. Well, should I say this? He's old John.
Yes.
We already said
yeah,
this.
Okay, fine. That traveled through time enough times where he's now gone delirious.
He's gone crazy.
He's traveling in time because his violin time traveling thing is still not out of commission. So he's going back in time and blowing up things to prevent bigger crimes. So it's kill one to save 1,000 sort of
yeah,
deal.
So his mission is he thinks that he's saving people by killing people because he can see the future and he knows
that I killed these people and
more people
prevented
die
all
if he
this.
doesn't do this.
Right.
But the thing that's crazy is that I think that the guy who runs the time organization wants him to be doing this stuff so they have a reason to have this time organization in the first place.
So he is the end game for the death and that paradox of Barkeep John turning into Fizzle Bomber John, because at the end, when he finds the Fizzle Bomber, realizes it's himself, he's like, I'm going to kill you now. And the Fizzle Bomber's like, it's not going to matter. This whole thing is going to repeat. You will become me. And he's like, no, I won't. And he will, because
the Fizzle Bomber is telling him, you can have a choice here, and you can just hang out with me.
You can break the loop.
And we could break the loop, and we could be friends together. We can do this together. And he doesn't do it.
And that, yes.
So is okay.
So fucking, what's a mind fuck of a movie?
This movie was so confusing, but at the same time, I thought it was kind of crazy at the end and ballsy.
Yes, I like figuring it out.
My question is, so is Robertson the guy, the time traveling Don, basically? Is he doing this to just prove that time travel exists, or is he wanting these events in history to happen? Or what is this? What is this, a grand experiment?
I think he did this to create an agent that can be free of time.
Yeah, but what is he doing with it?
What is he doing with it?
He's not changing like assassinations or history or anything. That's a good point.
They're not really changing anything.
Yeah.
they just seem to be in this loop trying to kill each other.
Yeah, and it just goes over and over again.
So it just seems like a sick joke.
He's just fucking with time.
That's the part I couldn't wrap my head around.
So there's two things that, like, if you pull at these two threads, it kind of makes the movie less enjoyable. That's one of them, and the other one is where the fucking baby started in the first place.
Right.
The chicken and the egg, which they mention in the movie. But I think really where this movie lies is in a discussion of identity and predestination.
That not only that, but I think those are decent discussions. The basis of this whole movie is trying to fucking wrap your head around what the hell just happened. That's the real discussion at first. Yes, there's those other things, but when I ended this movie, my first thought was, I got to read what the fuck happened and figure this shit out and connect the dots. That's the first thing that you want to do is connect the dots.
It's a fun challenge.
It's a challenge. That's the way I looked at it.
It's kind of like a puzzle.
Movie.
Yes, it's totally a puzzle movie, which is what I love about movies like this and like Pi from Darren Aronofsky. They're these crazy puzzle movies.
So I'll start off by saying I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
for sure. It is a little bit of a headache.
But it's a mind fucking.
Did you like this movie, Anthony?
I liked trying to figure it out when at the end.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like is I just don't understand what the point is.
It's
just a puzzle movie.
Yes, it's just kind of
at least in my opinion,
meaningless loop of a mess of time.
By about halfway through, I didn't figure out all the dots.
Yeah,
but I kind of figured that the puzzle or the fizzle bomber and the dude that she falls in love with, they were all the same. I kind of figured this out.
I figured it out like as soon as that person sat down and was a girl, and I could tell it was a guy in drag or whatever.
It was. Yeah.
I was like, all right, there's whatever this is. I know what's gonna happen.
Well, you can also tell right in the first scene, and I picked up on it right away. It was stuck in my memory.
Yeah,
the girl's face, the dude's face is burnt.
You see the girl under there.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's that actress.
So that's two things. Those are little clues. You're absolutely right. I noticed that. You see Sarah Snook. You see a girl's face underneath there. When you meet male John, initially he's kind of an androgynous looking fella, but I will say how amazing is fucking Sarah Snook in this movie. I thought she did a really good job.
No, I think she did a great job.
You buy that this actually happened to her.
Yeah, she actually carries the movie.
Yes.
Ethan Hawke kind of has an easy part.
He does. It all relies on Sarah Snook, even though they're both playing the same character at different points into the timeline.
Ethan Hawke is a really good actor.
He's great. No, he's absolutely great.
Is.
Yes.
Did you like it, Rug Boy?
I liked a lot about it. I don't know if I would recommend it because there's this. At the end of the day, what's the point? Right. Like you said, like what is it? What's going on? And then there's these plot holes where like, where did the baby come from?
Who
like
started
that
it?
doesn't make what what's the point of this? Like I don't. And another thing is that there's a lot of things that she just accepts. Like they just tell her that she's got a penis. And you're like,
okay.
Well, she's like, all right, I guess I'm taking testosterone.
Cut the tits off.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Some of those things, I'm like, that's not really how I.
But I love some of the reveals, like when you see Sarah Snook, John, post surgery, she has distinctive scars, under her breast, and then that reveal when you see Ethan Hawke, John, with his shirt open and he's got the same fucking scars.
Yeah, but I knew that already.
Yeah,
but then
that was like,
I think
that was like,
that was just more of a confirmation.
Yes, but I think part of the fun of this movie is dissecting this timeline and figuring out what the fuck happens when.
So the biggest jump for me within that story is her going back in time and falling in love with herself.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. You would know exactly how to be around yourself.
Well, it's the guy that knows
falling in love with her.
Yeah.
I
could buy Jane falling in love with him because she doesn't know him.
And that's him. Once they leave, that point was the point that I thought was kind of interesting was when Ethan's like, okay,
we got to go now.
And now you know why you left, basically.
Yes.
Like why you had to do this.
Well, then I love that.
So now you can forgive yourself for doing
I love
this.
the next part after he...
But it was so mind-fucky.
I love the next part where Ethan Hawke's character is like, okay, now you know who she is. You know who you are. You should be able to figure out who I am. And slowly, like that crazy revelation. She does mention John, Sarah Snook, Boy John does have the line where he's like, I've forgotten what I even used to look like, what I was. So I feel like the novelty of him going back and seeing himself in this other life that he's forgotten about kind of like he fell in love with that girl as another person. But yeah, he literally went and fucked himself.
So the whole point of this, the only point I could gather is that it's a predestination paradox,
Correct.
meaning this is always supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they always in the movie when when Ethan Hawke convinces Sarah Snook to go and kill the killer and travel in time.
Yeah.
She's like, "Do I have a choice?" And he goes, "You always have a choice." But I don't think they really have a choice.
They're
predestined to make the wrong choice every time. Maybe not the wrong choice.
This is a couple of things that really I loved about this time travel movie in particular. That being one of them, and the other one is that it breaks one of the biggest rules that all these other time travel movies have always taught us. If you think about Back to the Future, any basic time travel movie, you do not go back and talk to yourself in the past. Never do that. Everything gets fucked up. I've never seen a movie deal with that paradox in such a crazy mindfuck way where not only does he talk to himself, he has to fuck himself and birth himself and kill himself.
Yeah, most time travel movies, if you see yourself,
you start to fade. Remember Back to the Future? He's disappearing. So I really appreciated that different, fresh take.
Or if you interact with yourself, you really fuck up.
The butterfly effect.
But he's just but he's limiting his interactions to only himself. So it doesn't affect.
He doesn't
anything.
talk to anybody else. That's a good point.
Right. It's a weird fucking movie.
So what do we think about this?
I really loved it. You know what made me think about in my life? All the
no shit. You really
the choices you've made in your life, and you know how sometimes you think to yourself, you're like, "What if I did this? Would I have been a star? What if I this? Would I have been rich?" But what if the choices you made were always going to be the choices you were going to make? It's what kind of this movie is asking the viewer and itself. And like, what is identity? Like, who are you?
Is that good or bad?
I think it's great for just personal introspection and discussion.
So you're so you accept your life because you really don't have a choice.
It's kind of a little bit of a cop-out of not being able to choose if you want an easy way out. You're like,
well,
this is always going to happen. But it does, why plan things? Like, Anthony, you said in one of your shows, you're like, you're not really a planner. You're more of like, I'm just going to go along with shit. And what is planning things wasting time? Because what if this shit is predestined and you are always going to make these choices? So it doesn't matter.
Well, I think you can plan for situations, and I think that you can materialize things if you really want to. I remember there was a time in my life where I just said, I'm going to make this shit happen, and it just happened.
But maybe you were always supposed to do that.
No, I don't think so. Because the effort was made, and I could have not done it, but I did it.
Anthony, are you a free will or a predestination guy?
I am not a destiny kind of guy at all, because I feel like, this is my opinion, but I feel like people only believe in destiny when it's convenient.
When it's in their favor.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, I was destined to do, like, as you accomplish something. Oh, it's destiny. Oh, like this bad thing happened to me. Oh, that was fate.
Yeah.
It was supposed to happen. So I feel like destiny and predestination and fate are all things that it's just a cop out. I like to think I have control. I made fucking things happen. It wasn't anyone else. It wasn't this other thing. It was me.
Maybe that's what
even
want
if you believe even if you believe in a higher power, I believe that the higher power made it so that you have choices.
I think of it like kind of like what you're saying, but with some parameters. For example, like if you try and take like the way that human beings think about things and create things, right? Yeah. Like if you're making a video game, for example, like if you're making like Grand Theft Auto, right? Anything can happen in Grand Theft Auto, and they've programmed for everything to happen.
Option.
So every possible situation that we can do it's already been figured out. All the different outcomes. We decide which outcome we're going to go, but there's already a decisive route that we can take. So there's basically all the possibilities of what we can happening at the same exact time. And I think they say that in the movie.
Yeah, is it that thing where every alternate choice is happening parallel?
For example, if somebody creates Grand Theft Auto, right? They have to program for every situation. You decide to hit that old lady, you decide to get in the car, you decide to rob that store.
What's going to happen?
They have to program for all the choices. So even though it seems like you're making choices, the people who designed the game already made all those choices for you.
So take that to another level. What if we have free will to make these predestined choices? Does that
That's basically it.
That's it.
Oh, shit.
And in the Matrix, they say you can bend the rules, you just can't break them.
Yeah, if you know.
All right. So I think that's why I love the Matrix, and I love the fact that people are relating these things to these kind of binary kind of creation models. It's interesting.
I feel like, let me try and say it again. I feel like Destiny and Fate is for people that want to take no responsibility.
I
for
see.
Things.
Yeah, I believe some degree. Like it's God's will.
Yeah. No, it's not God's will. You're just a fucking loser that didn't get off the couch.
Yeah, you're just like, that was meant to happen.
Well, you just went out and you shot someone.
Yes.
Like it's not fucking God's will.
Yeah.
Stop. Or if good things happen to you too.
Yeah.
You made that happen.
Well, thank God this happened.
Right.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
you
no,
made
you
it
can thank God it happened.
But
I'm just saying it's only convenient. These things are only matter when it's convenient for you at the right time.
True.
No one ever says it was my fucking destiny to fucking drunk drive and run over somebody.
No one ever was like,
right?
this tsunami was supposed to come here and wipe everything out.
Right. And the people that do that, whatever.
I feel like there's things that call to you.
Right.
Whether you follow that call or you ignore it, that's your prerogative and that's your choice.
Well, so in this movie, the decisions are and they keep saying the line that we are literally born into this job. You know, he needed himself to take his place.
Well, he is born into it. Yes,
he's literally born into it, and the calling is to be this.
He was
time
engineered
agent.
into this exact job over and over and over.
So all of his choices are. He has no it was always going to happen. Every choice, he can't break it.
So when he kills the
Fizzle Bomber,
he ends up becoming the Fizzle Bomber.
Yes, he ends up still jumping around time because the time machine was supposed to be decommissioned. Remember though, but it errored out.
It wasn't.
And he can't avoid the temptation of that.
And he's already done it once, where he's done it out of permission or not without permission.
And
And he probably is then convinced by thinking about the Fizzle Bombers stuff that, I could prevent these crimes.
And the more he jumps, the crazier his mind gets.
And I remember the guy with the cigarette saying that these guys who are doing these unsanctioned jumps are doing important shit, or like they're doing they're taking the risks that no one else will take, or something like that.
So the question is there anyone else that's jumping around in time, or is he the only one?
Well, the other guy,
him and the other guy.
There was a couple of other guys.
The other guy had a violin.
Up.
There may be more agents that they just don't know. But it kind of reminds me of the organization in the Umbrella Academy.
So that just goes back to my point of, what's the point of his life?
It's a sad, tragic loop of nothing.
Is it just an experiment to see what the limits of time travel? Okay, if he just does this stuff, then time travel's okay. But if anyone else does anything, then it fucks things up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I think the only one that's actually changing time is the Fizzle Bomber.
Oh. Why?
Because he went rogue, and he's doing something in changing time. He's bombing things.
He's jumping around.
He's trying to affect... he's the one who doesn't want to do predestination. He's trying to affect destiny, right?
And ultimately,
that's
it's just a cat and mouse time travel cat and mouse game that just goes over and over again.
Now I'm thinking about all the stuff the Fizzle Bomber does. Yes. So is this happening over and over, and not? What are the future ramifications? Because that stuff doesn't get erased,
right?
Does it?
What happens outside of this time loop that these guys are existing in?
Time travel. That's tough.
This is why I love fucking time travel movies. But look, I would recommend this movie if anybody likes time travel.
There's no way you can absolutely wrap your head around it.
No,
because it's an unfathomable thing.
I have a chart, a graph here. This website made. I will put it in the show notes. It kind of shows you all.
Still confusing.
It's still confusing. So let's wrap up with this. Here's the chronological timeline. Here's everything that happens in order. Baby Jane placed in an orphanage, 1945. She leaves the orphanage, meets John. They court over 2 months. John impregnates Jane, disappears. Jane gives birth, then turns into a man who is John. John time travels back to kill his nemesis, instead meets Jane. They court. John fucks himself. Jane impregnates her, disappears. Then he becomes a time agent while trying to catch the Fizzle Bomber. His face is destroyed. He has cosmetic surgery to look like Ethan Hawke. John goes back in time to become the barkeep. The barkeep keeps the Sarah Snook John paradox going while he's trying to stop said Fizzle Bomber, only to realize he is the Fizzle Bomber, kills him, and then he will go on to become the Fizzle Bomber. Well, his life ends when he kills himself as the Fizzle Bomber. But in the middle, John has to bring the baby back to the orphanage over and over again so that he can exist. It's such a fucking crazy movie. Joe Henry, great pick.
What, do we want to give a review, like a rating?
Let's do a rating,
because I feel like we've been stuck really all on the plot.
Well, the movie is all
and
plot.
the theme.
Yeah,
the theme of
that is the whole movie.
Predestination.
What is? Let's give it a rating out of 10. What would you give it, Anthony?
Whew. I don't know.
I feel like this movie is really ballsy. It takes risks. It does things with a minimum amount of budget that make you rack your brain and are filled with wonder and stuff. A lot of the time, you're like, "Wow, they really fucking did some crazy shit in this movie." The performances are good. Yep. It's very smartly written. Yep. Like there's a couple of plot holes here and there, but ultimately you don't know what this is all about and why it's all for. And I think that would help a lot. That would take it from being a really good movie to being a great movie.
Yes, like a genius movie. Yes.
Yeah.
I would put it somewhere in the very good but not quite great. I would a cut above an average movie. So
I would, if I had to put a number on it, I'd go 7.5.
Yeah.
I do think it could have been, if there was a deeper, not even a deeper, but some sort of message at the end of why this all happened, then I would give it a higher rating. I'd also give it a 7.5 with the caveat of the only reason I would watch this movie again is to either try to figure out more stuff.
Yes.
Or watch it with someone else and see what their reaction is.
See how it plays out.
I don't know if I'd watch it again for my own entertainment.
I would watch a video on YouTube about this or a couple.
Gotcha.
Because it's interesting to hear about.
Look, the original short story I also read, I'll put a link to the show notes. It's only 9 pages long, but they used a lot of the lines straight from the story, tried to stay true to the essence of it. But Anthony, I was thinking the same thing, like a 7.5, 8. Because of the fact that I've never seen anybody deal with the time paradox this way. And Sarah Snook is really good in this movie. Just everything Rug Boy said.
It's a ballsy movie for sure.
It's a very unique, interesting movie, and
it's the type of movie that is not afraid to assume that the audience is smart,
right?
Or can figure things out.
It's a great indie film.
It's a great indie film. It doesn't condescend to the viewer.
I don't think it's bulletproof.
No,
it's definitely got some holes in it, but I think it's commendable.
Yeah, absolutely.
The flaw I think I see with the movie is I think it falls too in love with connecting all the fucking dots to make it. I think it falls in love with itself of let's see how many different things and loops we can create that interconnect this one character with himself over and over.
Towards
over.
Like the second half, he's doing a lot of things simultaneously.
I think it all works, but I think the movie's kind of reveling in the fact that look at what we're doing.
I'll tell you where it fell apart for me. So number one, the fact that I could call it so fast. So that. You want that to be a reveal where you're like, when Bruce Willis turns around and he's dead, and he's got a fucking gunshot in the back of his head, like in Sixth Sense, you're like, oh, I never fucking saw that coming.
So I think the problem with that, Ruggs, one of the weak points is when she's telling that story of meeting herself, how they shot it, where you see a trench coat and a hat and it's over the shoulder. It gets you immediately a little bit suspicious, like there's something swervy
I have
here.
another example before Ruggs keeps going of a really good reveal that you find out right at the fucking end of time travel.
Yeah.
Terminator 1.
Yeah.
You know the whole time that fucking what's his name?
Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese has gone back in time to protect Sarah Connor because John Connor is important.
Yes.
Then you see them fuck.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the fucking movie, Sarah Connor's talking in the tape recorder and she rubs her belly.
Yeah.
And then you go,
Like,
oh my
fuck.
God. Kyle Reese went back in time and he's the daddy.
Holy shit.
Oh shit.
Agreed. This one
you figure out right away.
Right, and it has
not right away, but you figure it, you can put the pieces together.
But it
right
has
off the
so
bat.
many of those because first you're like, oh, they're the same person, and then you're like, oh, it's the fucking baby too, and you're like, oh, it's him also, and it just keeps.
I mean, it does throw some surprises and some shit.
for sure.
He fucked himself.
Yeah, he fucked
Yeah.
himself.
The fucking himself is low.
I think that was the biggest thing. Like, I knew that he was the Fizzle Bomber. I knew all that stuff. The only thing I didn't know
But he fucked himself.
really was that he fucked
See?
himself.
There you go.
That's the big
There
reveal in
is
this
a
movie.
reveal, and he fucked
himself.
he fucked himself.
That is the fucking.
Yeah.
They should have named this movie
fucked
if
himself.
they would have like given it all away. Guy fucks himself.
yes,
the movie.
no.
He fucked herself.
Yeah.
Is that what she,
The
was
movie
it
should just be called
her-
"Go Fuck Yourself." That should be
Yeah.
the name of the movie. And
I went and gone and fucked myself.
So let me recommend two movies that are amazing time travel movies that you can actually go back and watch multiple times and pick up things. And I'm specifically going to mention Primer, which is even a lower budget movie. But this is a movie where there is shit in the very beginning that is in the background that once you watch the movie and you go back, you're like, oh, fuck, they're doing
Yeah.
the thing that they talked about later. And Time Crimes, which is a
The Spanish movie, right?
time travel movie. It's fucking
That's a
amazing.
crazy
It's
one.
really good. And those two are very.
It's almost like a horror
Yes,
film.
it is. It's got a horror vibe, but it's so good. And again, another crazy loop where you're like, you watch it again, you're like, oh fuck, there's the guy from later. He's doing it. So that's why I love these time travel movies.
I can't believe you're not recommend. I mean, I guess it's too.
The big ones, of course, Terminator, Back to the Future. I don't have to talk about those. I'm trying to
Yeah,
let's
true.
go for the smaller ones. Like,
All right,
yeah.
fair enough.
All right, good stuff. Let's get to news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation. Well, that's all the time we have this week on the show. We'll catch you next time. No, I'm kidding. It seems so long sometimes. You guys, Shazam's coming out April 5th, very soon. On my birthday.
Talking nerd.
Hint, hint. April 5th, Nerd's birthday. But Fandango had an opportunity last weekend, March 23rd.
When is that? Next week?
April 5th. Yes, next week. But if Fandango was showing the movie at exclusive screenings on March 23rd, and listener and our patron saint of awesome, Seth Morgan, has seen Shazam and given us his spoiler-free thoughts.
Talking nerd.
Here we go. He said, just left the theater, had one of the best times at the movies I've had in a long time. So many good things about this flick. The humor worked. The CGI was pretty much dead on. The characters had a lot of heart. I'm afraid to go into any plot details at all because I don't want to accidentally spoil anything for you guys. All I can say is I laughed. I was never once bored. There was plenty of action. And one scene in particular left me with a big lump in my throat. And oh yeah, there's a pretty neat cameo at the end. All in all, DC gave us a really great story that never gets bogged down in destruction porn. The characters act just as they probably would in real life under the same circumstances. Our hero is flawed, mostly because he's a kid, but he grows in many ways by the end, and that is more the heart of the story than young Billy Batson becoming a superhero. It's rare for me to say this, but sitting out in the parking lot, I really wish I could have gone right back in, watch it again. The last movie I said that about was Braveheart, so that tells you something. Can't wait for you guys to see it.
Talking nerd.
Thank you, Seth. What do you guys think? I think this is going to be a pretty good hit for them. I don't think it's going to make a lot of money.
Good things.
Yeah. I agree with both of you.
Yeah.
I think I've heard good things.
But I hear good things about a lot of things, and then I go and watch it. I'm like,
They're saying it may only
I
make
don't know
like
if it'll make a ton of
50 million
money.
opening weekend, but
I like the idea of a kid in a man's body and trying to figure out how to be a good person.
It's like Big.
It's like Big, and hopefully this movie has that kind of feeling.
Except this is before Big. I mean,
well, yes,
It says
the
origins
idea,
way
yes,
before
the
Big,
idea
yeah.
was before it was first of Captain Marvel. But it seems like it will get that vibe that you got when you were a kid and you were watching some of those 80s movies like Big or Flight of the Navigator or movies where kids like Goonies. Like, I'm hoping it hits that kind of feeling.
Well, this is the thing. I don't really have a lot of affection for Captain Marvel.
Me
I
neither.
mean, Shazam. I said that by accident.
Well, it is Captain
But you're
Marvel.
right. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
But I don't really have like a lot of it. I always thought he was like a Superman clone, and there's no way to do this movie like a Superman type movie. You have to do something different. I don't know if going outright comedy is the way it is, but I've heard that it's not an outright comedy.
I've heard there's a little bit of horror in it, a little bit of like dramatic action scenes.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what they do with it. But as I said, I'm not really a big fan of this character, so there's really nothing that's going to affect me as far as personally.
Yes, I agree. They really have to fuck this up for me not to enjoy this,
That's where you have carte blanche. Like you have a character that you're not invested in, you don't have preconceived notions of, you don't have an understanding of the character and what they should be. So you have a lot of room to kind of, this is actually good. Like everybody kind of heard of Shazam who's into comics. Nobody I don't think anybody reads Shazam, but everybody is aware of Shazam. So he's got an awareness factor that's pretty high.
Is it that high, though? I'm wondering if it's going to get buzzier after the movie, if you're going to see kids in Shazam outfits and they're going to really connect.
No, I'm just talking about people that are into comics know Shazam. Sure. So he's got a marquee value for the nerds.
Are we going to get, Shazam costumes at Halloween this year? We'll see. If it really picks
Not like
up.
a ton, but I think you'll get some. I mean, Shazam, I don't think this will be the biggest movie ever, but I think if it's solid enough, I think the word of mouth will carry it enough to make it something that people are at least somewhat aware of at this point. Because right now he's a nothing character.
And it's coming out the month of Endgame, which is also really tricky. So I think it was smart of them to screen it early and get people talking about it.
What that shows is they're confident in the movie.
Yes, I believe I think that's correct. And they made $1 billion with Aquaman. This one, make half of that. Maybe.
I don't know.
Probably
we'll
not. It's probably
I could see it making $500 million
total. Yeah,
maybe like 400, but
$50 million opening weekend. I don't know what else is opening on April 5th, so it'll be. We'll see what happens, and we'll talk about some box office numbers in a little bit. But first, Anthony, our fucking Jock and Nerd Nation members are awesome. I love how how our show. Like you have the spin-off show, we've built a community. Things are spinning out, and things are breaking out into more things thanks to old Fiddlesticks Winterbottom.
Yeah, so Mr. Fiddlesticks Winterbottom has gone about. So he basically put in our Jock and Nerd Nation, which everyone should join. It is a private group, but if you join and you listen to the show, you'll be able to answer the questions. No problem. Sure. He basically says Seth Morgan was saying he wished there was a subgroup of the nation to discuss horror-related topics. So Fiddlesticks took up the challenge and just created a group.
Nice.
So he has made his own private group where he's invited people from the nation to join that he thinks are into horror, and anyone else can invite people. But the group is called the Chamber of Chills.
Yes.
Nerd.
So if you are into horror movies, definitely check that out. Shout out to Fiddlesticks Winterbottom because he is putting all his effort into the Chamber of Chills and doing daily movie recommendations. He's doing countdowns. He has a countdown coming up that might already be out by this point, but it's top 10 slasher flicks.
Oh, cool.
He's going to do top 10 anthologies, top 10 monster movies. So he's doing a whole bunch of shit on here. And there's a decent amount of people already on that are participating. So if you want to talk horror, Chamber of Chills.
Join the Chamber of Chills.
And a little potential... Eventually, it might be a little horror spin-off show with me and Fiddlesticks.
Oh, shit. You don't even fucking like horror movies.
I might do one episode with him where he nerds out about horror movies.
On the spin-off show. Yeah.
Not its own thing.
Right. Yeah, no, that will be great. And
unless if Fiddlesticks wants to start his own thing, I encourage it. But I definitely want to have him on the spin-off.
Shout out to Fiddlesticks, man. I love that we've created communities that are creating communities that are creating communities.
He even does the Imran thing where whenever there's a new member that joins, he goes, "Hello, guys. Let's welcome new member so-and-so."
Well, a little secret about that Imran thing, it's like a one-click auto button on the Facebook page. I don't type that.
Well, he does it.
Yes, you just click welcome new member and it fucking puts it together, which is helpful. So it's real easy. But great, dude, Fiddlesticks. I love that. I just it's crazy. Someday down the line, there'll be a group that you'll have to trace back all the way to this podcast. Be like, oh, this shit started way over here.
I'm loving it. I'm part of that group, and I've talked to Fiddlesticks off of the on the Facebook Messenger just encourage
I
the
feel
hell
like
out
it's
of him.
going to be that Fiddlesticks' thread is going to be the 50 Shades of Grey to our Twilight.
Look, anything that promotes this community, I'm all for. I love it. Great job. Join the Chamber of Chills.
He's owned it, and I'm loving that.
Way to take incentive.
He's taken his passion and made it into something.
So real quick, speaking of horror movies, speaking of Hollywood box offices, Jordan Peele's Us came out last week, and boy, did it break a lot of records at the box office. This movie was made for $20 million. Yeah. It is an R-rated original horror movie. Opening weekend makes $71 million.
Oh, shit.
It is sitting at $113 million worldwide, $90 million domestic. That's pretty crazy because this is the second biggest box opening this year. This is the biggest opening weekend for an original horror movie, just behind It and Halloween, which are a remake and a sequel. This is the biggest domestic opening weekend for an original R-rated film, beating previous record holder Ted. And I think you can learn a lot from the success of this movie. And Jordan Peele seems to be the next fucking auteur director in Hollywood. Who thought the guy from fucking Key and Peele had this kind of director chops?
I haven't seen it, but
anybody, does this make you want to see it though? Like,
did you see it?
I haven't seen it, but I feel like everybody's talking about it.
Has Fiddlesticks seen it?
Oh, it's a good question,
Fiddlesticks.
Send
if
us
you've
your
seen
review.
it, send us a review, please. Because you're now my horror guy.
There you
so
go.
I trust you.
We got a
on this
horror
stuff.
guy. We got a science guy. We got a kaiju guy. I love this. But look, clearly original movies, diversity sells, and it makes a lot of money. And I think Jordan Peele proves with this movie that this horror movie is bigger than just the genre of horror. Like, this is, everybody's talking about this fucking movie. So I kind of do want to see it because I want to know what the fuck, before I get it spoiled. There's some crazy twists. I want to know what happens. But I think it's exciting. Speaking of box office, let's check in with Captain Marvel. $938 million.
Oh, shit.
Worldwide. So Us knocked it out with that huge $70 million. Does this thing still hit $1 billion?
And Shazam's coming out this week.
Shazam will cut into it a little bit. Like I said, it's not going to be 70 million like Us. It'll be maybe 50. Does this thing still hit $1 billion?
It does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. Internationally, this thing's at $607 million. Like, it's...
I think Black Panther beat it to a billion faster, right?
Probably, at this point. It's very close. It slowed down a lot, though, this last weekend. But fuck, it's close. Okay, I also want to take this opportunity. We shouted out one of our friends of the show, creating something new. Here are some more people that we've had on the show that have done stuff. Scott Weinstein, Anthony. Remember Scott?
I do.
From episode 33.
The producer of SNL's. Ooh.
I was going to have Anthony tell me something about Scott. I'm quizzing him on all our guests this episode.
No, I knew that.
Anthony, tell me something about Scott Weinstein.
He's got a book coming out.
Oh,
and he writes jokes for Saturday Night Live.
He has been a producer on the Weekend Update on SNL.
And he went to your fucking school.
He went to Pratt. We are art school buddies. He's been working at Saturday Night Live for over 20 years. And he wrote a book called Team of Steves. Ruggs, what is this book about? And are you excited to pre-order this?
Yeah, I've already ordered it.
Nice.
I've actually have a little, Scott too, so he told me about it. And it's basically a story about a 15-year-old kid named Steve who gets opens up a doorway to other dimensions and meets his doppelgangers.
Nice.
And they're all different versions of him. And they all have different talents. And he's kind of like I don't want to give it away, but he's kind of like riddled with problems. And these guys kind of help him grow and figure out his problems. And there's a mystery involved and things they have to uncover that kind of deepens and world builds.
I love
so
this.
It's kind of like a beginning book. There's supposed to be 3 total, right?
Nice. Okay, yeah, it's young adult sci-fi. And when I was a kid, you're like, what if I could just clone myself? Or what if there was 5 of me? I could take care of everything. But essentially, like the movie Multiplicity, things get are more complicated than you need them. But it reminds me of like Multiplicity and what's like Orphan Black and what's some of the other ones?
I think it's like Into the Spider-Verse a little bit
Into the Spider-Verse also. That sounds great, Scott. Congratulations.
It's like Into the Spider-Verse, but not written by Dan Slott.
Yes,
way better.
It's a fun. He also wrote After School Agent, which is a great comic book.
Oh, amazing.
And we should have him back on the show to promote the book, but you can pre-order the book on Amazon right now, listener, and I will have a special affiliate link for you to use. That way you help out the show. Here's how you do that. If you are in the U.S., go to jockandnerd.com/Amazon. It will take you to Amazon, and you continue shopping as usual, and we get a little commission. Costs you nothing. But thanks to listener Vanessa Herman, I was not aware that this does not work in Canada. I apologize to our Canadian listeners, of which we have many. So today I applied to the Canadian Amazon affiliate, and Canadian listeners, go to jockandnerd.com/AmazonCA, and it will take you to your Canadian Amazon affiliate Jock and Nerd site. Here's the deal, though, Canadian listeners. We need some orders in the first 90 days for this thing to stick and for the affiliate link to be fully approved.
So use it.
Use it or lose it, basically. I'm looking at you, Morrisons, and the Adam Morrises, and Vanessa Hermans, and all the other Canucks spending their loonies. Vanessa Herman is like, thanks, I'll use this when I spend my loonies. I guess that's what they call money. Another guy that's doing stuff that's been on the show, Oscar-winning filmmaker Sean Christianson. You guys remember Sean?
Of course.
Yeah. Episode 64, he was on. You can find out a lot about him. Anthony, tell me something about Sean Christianson.
Made this movie about this dude that got cut up and was in a tub.
Okay. I'll give you points for that. It's called Curfew.
And he won an award for it.
Oscar-winning live short, Curfew. Also in the band Stella Star. We started a band together. Also went to art school with me. What he's doing now, this guy's kind of like a little bit of Gerard Way, Ruggs. Would you agree? Super talented.
Oh yeah, he's a Renaissance man. He
was in a successful band. He he wrote, starred, directed in a movie, a short that won an Oscar, and now he is directing Rami Malek in a new podcast.
Oh shit!
Whoa!
Called Blackout from Endeavor
Podcast.
Audio. Yes. This is a audio fiction podcast called Blackout, starring Rami Malek as a small-town New Hampshire radio DJ who fights to protect his family and community after the power grid goes down nationwide, upending modern civilization.
Cool.
3 episodes are out. It's produced by Rami Malek and Q Code. Sean is directing all the episodes. There's going to be 8 total, released every Tuesday. I've listened to the first 2. It's very good. It's a good sci-fi audio.
I believe it.
They're like half an hour long. And Rami Malek sounds like Rami Malek, but well directed by Sean Christensen. Check it out. Free podcast.
Did he write this?
No, he's directing it.
He's just directing the sound directing.
This is created and written by Scott Conroy. I imagine he's directing the actual recording of the dialogue.
Right.
You know?
Like the acting that's going on.
Correct.
Aha.
So, dude, that's cool. Friends of the show. Doing stuff.
Do you think he got the idea to do a podcast? It's like, hey, Imran can do this. I can do this.
I think you're absolutely right. A monkey can do this.
I'm giving you credit where it's not.
Listen, we put the bug into Sean's. I don't know if he'd been on podcasts before.
Yeah,
I hope I had a little bit.
And the fucking guy was a rock star.
Yes, he was
in the early 2000s. And he was on a multitude of things.
He's our Gerard Way. He's our very own Gerard.
Sure.
Surprise, just this today coming in, I got a voicemail from formerly from work, Joe from work, Anthony.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't heard from Joe from work.
Joe from work throwing in a voicemail?
Here it is.
Hey, Rug Boy and probably Imran, quickly, give me your take on Into the Badlands. I just started that. Looks like it could be pretty cool, pretty good world building, pretty big game fan over here. So let me know what you think. I do have a nitpick, though, that fucking title card. Whoever approved that font, it is that A looks like an R, looks like Into the Brolands. That's right, Anthony. Now that got your attention. Look it up, okay? All right, you boys split that extra $4 a month evenly now, all right? Take care. One love.
He reminds me of Dennis Miller. I just expected him to go cha-cha-cha. Yeah, take that.
Hey, babe.
Hey, babe. Bro, Lance. Wait, shut up, bro.
Bro, Lance.
I love hearing from Joe from work. That voice. I missed hanging out with Joe.
Did you watch Into the Badlands?
I've watched a couple of episodes of the first season.
What I did was even better than that. I didn't have time to watch a new show.
Yeah.
So I went on YouTube, and they have all of the fight scenes.
Oh, they just cut the fight scenes?
I just watched all the fight scenes.
So here's pretty much the deal. Actually, this is a good time to binge the show. First season in 2015. It has 3 seasons total. It's in its third season right now. It's airing in February. They canceled the show. So it will be, the series finale will be in May, but there's 32 episodes total. So really a perfect time to binge and catch up and watch it finish live.
3 seasons is more than enough for this.
Yeah. The first season is 6 episodes, and then it's 10, and then 16. Now, I enjoyed, it's like an homage to samurai movies and kung fu Hong Kong movies. And in the season 3 trailer, you see hints of like steampunk and some mystical spiritual elements. The fight scenes are great. Daniel Wu, the lead guy, is pretty cool. It's got Nick Frost playing a funny British guy, which is every role Nick Frost has. But reading the reviews, I heard the first season was okay, and it got better in the second season and the third season. But it's only 32 episodes total. So if you want some good...
I just go Google the fight scenes.
Google the fight scenes and then binge the rest of the seasons. I heard... Here's the thing. This thing had Walking Dead as its lead-in 2015. Thought it would have been huge. I really don't hear anybody talking about this show.
No one talks about Into the Badlands.
Right. But the fight scenes look fucking sick. The sword work, the martial arts looks really good.
There was an element of it that was just not working for me. I could probably get into it if I had nothing else to watch.
I think it's one of those things.
There's so much competition that you're like, okay, I can get into this show for the fight scenes, but is that enough? Is that enough for me to watch it?
This is like after I finish Narcos, if I have time, maybe I'll binge
when are you going to finish that?
Eventually.
What are you on?
I'm on season 2, episode 3.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I got a long way to go.
You got to get back on the Narcos train.
I'm getting back. Get back on the drugs. No, you don't have to tell me twice to get back on the Narcos. I'm always getting back on Narcos. But Into the Badlands, I think it's probably a good time to binge it, Joe. Thanks for the voicemail. Finally, we have a fantasy baseball update from Jason Dutch from Voice from the Underground. And
he's running the Jock and Nerd fantasy baseball.
That's absolutely fine. It's all him. Take all the work, get it done. Also, I love this because it gives me a chance to bring back this clip.
Here's the National Fantasy League update.
Yo, fam, what's crack-a-lack? And this is Jason Dutch over at VFU Podcast. And I am the facilitator and heavy-handed dictator of the new Nerd League Baseball, Fantasy Baseball League, taking place on the Jock and Nerd Facebook group. So just wanted to give a real quick update. I will try to give a few of these as at least a couple times a month. I don't know if you want to be inundated with my dumb voice every week or not, but it's up to you guys. So I'm going to give you guys an update on what's been going on so that Imran doesn't have to pay attention to sports.
Thank you.
Because we don't want him to hurt his head.
No.
So we had our draft on St. Patrick's Day. Just want to say thanks to everybody for showing up. Most everybody showed. We had a couple of auto drafters. Jess Rivera, good job, man. You drafted while moving your motorcycle. I mean, that is dedication, ain't it, motherfucker? So, Jess Rivera, Jose Ibarra, Fiddlesticks, Winterbottom, Matt Miller, Brian Goff, Blake Braden, Chaz Hubbard of the Jock Talk Show, Lisa Morrison, Gerald Glassford from over at the Pop Culture Cosmos, and myself are in this league. First games start actually the day the boys are recording this. So good luck, everybody. Thanks again, and we'll update you later. Peace out. Jock and Nerd.
Cool. Thanks for the
Best
update.
of luck to everybody, and thank you, Jason Dutch, for setting up the Jock and Nerd affiliated fantasy baseball that I am not a part of.
You're not into this, anything?
No, fantasy baseball is
too much work.
Too fucking much work.
I love, this is how badass Lisa Morrison is. She just fucking gets in there, mixes it up with all the dudes. She don't give a fuck. It's great.
Yeah, she don't care about no gatekeeping.
There's no fucking gatekeeping here. Yeah, let us know. And there's a prize package at the end, whoever wins after 117,000 baseball games that the season has. Let us know what happens. Anthony, I wanted to tell the listener to check off the last episode of the spinoff show featuring Adam Morris. Very good.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that one was Adam Morris. That one's kind of epitomizes what the spinoff show can be. One week, I can go nerd out with Game of Thrones with TJ Johnson, and the next week, we're talking about the effect of contaminants on polar bears in Canada.
It's great. And listen, he is the official science guy of the Jock and Nerd podcast. You always learn shit when Adam Morris is on the show.
He is much more than just the science guy.
No, that's what he is to me. Well, he is a lot more. Great.
He knows his shit.
It's just ridiculous that a guy with a PhD would fucking waste his time listening to this fucking shit.
And you asked him that. You're like, why do you listen? How did you find this? But we'd love to have you. And he explains a bunch of things. You learn a lot about him. Really
What does he say when you ask him that?
You have to listen to the show.
Yeah, well, I'll summarize. He basically says that when he was studying, he was in front of a computer for hours on end and needed something to listen to.
Oh, so we just kind of wormed our way into his brain.
He connected with both me and Anthony for different reasons. But listen to the show. He explains it all. It's a very great conversation. Who's next on the spin-off show?
Next, all crossing my fingers, but it looks like the next one is with Jimmy McPike.
Ah, yes.
Who was on episode 93 of the Jock and Nerd podcast.
Yes.
And then I believe on another one, replacing me for an episode.
Oh, that's right.
But he goes by the pen name Bard Brahan. He did write a little bit for A Place to Hang Your Cape. He's written, I think he's tried to write comics, but we'll see what kind of conversation I get out of him. He is a big history buff.
Yeah, that should be
history
fun.
nerd.
That
was his major.
Yeah.
So we might get deep on some history. So
that's going to be great.
The next one.
That will be in the feed next. And of course, follow us on Instagram at Jock and Nerd. Ruggs, where can the listener find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ReallyRugBoy. And I'm just there chilling. Come hang out, say what's up. How about retweeting some of my shit?
Yeah, retweet all his shit. If you want to hear more of me, I don't know why you would. There's a new season of Trivia Geeks Live currently releasing every week. So like every Sunday, there's hours of my voice on podcasts right now between Trivia Geeks and this show. And then now Anthony filling in the middle of the week. There's fucking content everywhere, listener.
So much.
Consume it all. And the best way you can help us grow is just tell a friend. Word of mouth. That's it. Word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. Recommend the show. Suggest it. Share it. Word of mouth.
Just grab your friend's phone and make them download it.
Yes. Give them one of these. Jock and Nerd. And then give them one of these.
My balls was hot.
And then download the show and everything will be clear. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
We'll keep you next week, y'all.
I'm pumped.
I fucked myself.
Oh, fuck yourself. Oh, I did.
I fucked myself. And then I killed myself.
And then I had myself and while killing myself.
Get your hand off my penis!
That's what I said.
It's my vagina, too.
I said that to myself.
The penis was in her vagina.